Today, the Los Angeles Rams against the New York Jets.
Delightful day in New York. The weather conditions, temperature of 67 degrees, wind south 6 miles an hour. It is sunny and mild. And sincerely, I'm Pat Summerall, and I can say good afternoon. The Rams come to town for the first time since 1980 to face the Jets. The Rams, of course, have a new head coach, and they have a new attitude. And who better to ask about that attitude than our analyst, John Madden. And what about John Robinson's Los Angeles Rams?
Well, of course, John Robinson came to the Rams. He knew that he had to do something because they were down. They were kind of a tired old team. So he's had 20 roster changes. He's moved from a 3-man line to a 4-man line, drafted Eric Dickerson, the second player taken in the draft, and they're a brand new team. They're only a blocked field goal away from being 3-0.
The Jets also have a new coach, and Joe Walton. At the beginning of the year, a lot of people picked him to be in the Super Bowl, certainly to be a contender. Yet they've lost 2 games already. All of a sudden, they can't seem to play defense.
Well, it's defense in general, but specifically it's defense against the run, where they're last in the NFL against the run. They've had 2 bad weeks in a row. Now, today they're going to do some things to change that. One, they're going to move Joe Flacco inside to try and get some size and bulk in there. 2, they're trying to simplify their defense. So they don't have to do as much thinking. They can just react. But I think the big thing with the Jets is really lack of confidence. And that's what they have to get back today and get it early.
Well, they'll have a chance to put the ball in play on offense. The first time Chuck Nelson is the Ram kicker. Johnny Hector and Kirk Springs are back deep. Hector is number 34, Springs is number 22. 21, I'm sorry. That will be Kirk Springs. And he springs loose from the pack. Gets out to about the 26-yard line. The New York Jets offense. Richard Todd, the quarterback, McNeil and Crutchfield, the runners. Wesley Walker and Derek Gaffney will start at one of the wide receiver spots. He'll alternate. Ward, Waldemore, Fields, Alexander, and Powell. And Jerome Barkham, the tight end. That's one of the best offensive lines in football. From their own 26, the New York Jets start their first offensive thrust. Richard Todd has McNeil as the lone runner. This is McNeil. McNeil back to the inside, 8 yards. The Los Angeles Rams 3-man defensive line, Youngblood, Meisner, and Reggie Goss. The linebackers Owen Collins in place of Jim Youngblood, Carl Eckern, and Mel Owen. Gets out quickly outside McNeil, makes the reception, got a blocker in front. Close to a first down. Greg Meisner out there quickly to stop. The secondary, Collins and Irvin, 2 new cornerbacks, Cromwell and Johnson, 2 veteran safety men. All of them playing very well at this time. Fred Silva signals first down, a hurry-up offense by the Jets.
That's the second time in a row that the Jets have gone without a huddle.
Back to throw. Trying to stand in the pocket under pressure. Freeman McNeil was the intended receiver. The heat was applied by Meisner. The Jets have a man down. I believe it's the offensive guard, Stan Waldemore. Head coach Joe Walton. That familiar pose. With the hat on backwards and wearing the headset. His first year. He replaced Walt Michaels. Jets have had a lot of injuries. Dan Waldemore, the 6-year pro from Nebraska and one of the top guards in the NFL. You always wonder when they're down and looking in the area of a knee. You always have to be very concerned about that.
I'll tell you one thing about the Jets. They probably have one of the finest orthopedic doctors in the National Football League, and Dr. James Nicholas. He's the guy that took care of Joe Namath for years. Let's see if we can see it on the replay. It'll be on the right part of the screen. The left guard, number 70, Stan Waldemar. Let's see if we can see him. He just went down right there. Looked like he twisted his knee. You see him? He's just grabbing that left knee. You know what happens, is when they get the foot planted in the ground, and they have so much weight on them. You know, Waldemar's a guy that weighs 270 pounds, and they get that foot planted, and the cleat is planted in the ground. Then the body moves. The only thing that can really go is the joint, and all that pressure goes right on the joint.
Lone setback on 2nd and 10. Todd drops the throw. Set and throw. Lamb Jones makes the first down reception. Leaping catch. Ball thrown behind him.
That was some catch here by Lamb Jones. Let's watch it. He's the outside guy there, the left hand. He's going to run a hook pass. See, he comes up, makes a few moves there, comes to the inside, and the ball was thrown behind him. You know, one thing about Lamb Jones, we saw it on film, is he always jumps when he catches the ball. Even when he doesn't have to, he'll jump up. Sometimes he catches it waist high.
That time he had to turn around in the air to make the catch. This is Gaffney in motion. Down at midfield. Wayne Crutchfield over the left side for a couple. Not much more than that. Meisner and Goss, the two who made the stop. Some of you who are now watching this game had to leave that game because of our contractual obligations with the NFL. That's the score in the fourth quarter. New Orleans 20, Dallas 19. Here it's 2nd and 9, no score. We're at Chase Stadium in New York. On back to throw. Good protection. Walker is the intended receiver. Pass intercepted. Kurt Collins back there with him. Todd underthrew just a bit. Walker had a couple of steps.
There's John Robinson. He's leading the cheering out there. I'll tell you, that was really Richard Todd's fault because Walker did have Kurt Collins beat. Let's see if we can watch it. We'll take a look at it here in the chalkboard. See if we can get it up here. Now, you see, here's Walker out here. Here's Collins. Now, Walker's going to come out. He's just running it up. A fly pattern. He has him beat. The ball's thrown a little short, and it's intercepted. Let's just watch it out here. It's on the right side. See, it's man-to-man coverage. He starts to the outside. It's just a sprint up the field. Now watch it. He has Collins beat by a couple steps, but the ball's thrown short, and Collins makes the interception.
And the Rams take over at their own 13. This is Eric Dickerson. Maybe a yard. This is the Jet question mark. Their defense. Let's look at the Ram offensive backs and receivers. Ferragamo, the quarterback. Dickerson and Grumman, the runners. Farmer and Otis Grant, two young wide receivers. Up front, it's Bain, Hill, Smith, Harris, Slater, and Mike Barber, the tight end. Although we'll see a lot of David Hill for 81. 2nd and 8. Dickerson got 2. Ferragamo off to a very strong start. Two tight ends. Farmer and Hill pitches back to Dickerson. Long setback. He cuts back. Got some good yardage. Dickerson can run. Eric Dickerson still going. Dickerson will go. Bobby Jackson was the last man to chase him, but nobody can catch Eric Dickerson. He just went 85 yards for a Los Angeles Rams touchdown. John Robinson said yesterday he hasn't broken one yet, but he's going to.
What he said, it's just a matter of time, and that was the time right there. The Jet defense has been having trouble all year against the run. They wanted to develop confidence today, and that's sure no way to start it. What a run. I think John Robinson
looking at right now, or just were looking at, the second longest run in Ram history. The longest one, that's from scrimmage. The longest one was back in 1947 by Kenny Washington against the Chicago Cardinals. Eric Dickerson puts his name in the book. Dallas has just scored a safety, and it's 21-20. I don't know if they missed an extra point or they had it blocked to get down by one. But Raphael Seppi of Dallas had not missed an extra point in a long, long time. Certainly not this year.
And I would think he didn't miss one today. You know, one thing about that New Orleans team, they're playing without George Rogers. When you have that guy, that left-handed snake back there, quarterback, I guarantee you anything can happen. Anything.
Nobody's seen it all. Nobody should know better than you. Chuck Nelson will kick off spring, and Hector back deep for the Jets. Stunned Jets at the moment. Rams leading 7-0. 85-yard touchdown run by Eric Dickerson. Shows you he's not only strong and big, he can also fly. Springs at the goal line. Springs carried. Penalty markers down. Brett Silva's the referee. He'll tell us what happened in just a minute. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League. Is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the New York Jets and the National Football League is prohibited.
The penalty used against the Jets is one of those illegal use of the hand, probably blocking from behind above the waist 10-yard penalties. Terrible field.
On the run back, illegal block above the waist, half the distance to the goal. First down.
He didn't say who it was, but it looks like, see, right there we see it, right there. See the push right there? Number 23 from behind, that's what it was.
Mark Giroux was the man he hit from behind. Gaffney in motion to just Raymond McNeil. He breaks the back. Penalty marker down again.
They brought him again. An illegal block and then a holding penalty after a 80-some-yard run. That's a tough way to start a game.
It's not going to help your confidence very much.
And I think that's their biggest problem. I really do. You know, you go in, you're confident, people pick you for the Super Bowl, you lose one, you say, well, we'll come back. You don't come back, and then you start to wonder, can we do it?
People start looking at each other saying, was it my fault or was it your fault? And then they start accusing each other. Second down and 8. Rams refused that last penalty. Todd with the lone setback. Got it back to the goal line. Going deep for a punt. He could have a punt. Just over the outstretched arm of Wesley Walker, who again had a couple of steps. The Jets tell us that one of the reasons that Todd has been perhaps a little bit shaky is that Walker's been hurt, and they haven't been able to work together very much.
Right, and he hasn't practiced much, and he said the timing between Todd and Walker is just a little off. This is what it looks like. It's a little roll to the left. Walker again. This time it's man-to-man on Leroy Irvin. You see that when he has to throw over? That's a little like throwing out of a tunnel. You got to get that ball up.
So it'll be 3rd and 8 as Joe Walton looks on. Rams leading 7-0. Now they go with 2 setbacks. 2 wide receivers to the right. Todd drops in that direction. Intended for Jerome Markham, just off his fingertips is Nolan Cromwell. Jarred him as he stretched to make the catch.
Well, they've been going deep, and that time they sent 2 wide receivers deep on this side and tried to bring Markham underneath. Cromwell, the strong safety, is playing his zone, just waiting right there.
So Chuck Ramsey comes on. The Jet punter, Leroy Irvin, back deep for the Rams. Standing right at midfield. Ramsey was really bombing front in pregame warm-up. Rams have everybody up front. Irvin back there all alone by himself. They took too much time. They can't lose too many yards. Rams jumped and shuffled
time, that's the place to do it, because the penalty's only half the distance.
But it still jams your punter up a little bit closer to the line of scrimmage.
It's a shorter snap.
Yeah. And obviously because of that makes it a little bit easier to block. Rams don't have that in mind, however. Not a very good kick. At the 45, shoots one man, shakes him, shoots another. Rams will take over at the Jets 39. The Jets players are very aware of what they have to accomplish, particularly on defense. And here's what they had to say about it.
As soon as we just get down to brass tacks and start hitting the way we know how, I think we'll remedy our problems.
Well, when you have problems, it's usually not that you're getting too fast. It's usually you're not being basic enough. So what we're trying to do is we're going to try and be basic, and we're going to try and stop Eric Dickerson. It's going to be a tough job, but we have to do it.
I kind of believe that you have to be in every play of every football game like it's the last play of your life. So that's what we're going to have to do this week.
Dickerson, they haven't stopped him so far. This time they do. He got about 3. Marty Lyons made the stop.
Well, when they have to admit they knew what they had to do.
Yeah.
That's one of those things that's sometimes easy to say and hard to do. We have to stop Eric Dickerson. We have to simplify our we have to tackle. We have to react. They know that. And the guy runs 80 yards.
2nd and 7. Dickerson got 3. He hasn't had a 100-yard game yet. But he sure will soon. That's Truman in motion. Dickerson again. Plans for about 3 more. Marty Lyons again on the tackle. For an NFL update, let's go to Brent Musburger now in our New York studio.
That is a big day for the Dickersons. In a game of big plays, this is the biggest. Anthony of the Dallas Cowboys is coming on the blitz. Kenny Stabler on 2nd and 9, can't let go, and as a result, the Cowboys lead the Saints 21-20. Back to Pat and John.
Well, those Cowboys do seem to find a way to win, don't they? That is Mark Gastineau, who told some of the Ram players before the game that he wasn't going to try to play. Obviously, he did. He had a bad ankle going in. Let's watch it.
Let's watch Gastineau here. We see him. We have him isolated there. He works to the outside, and he starts to come down the line to close that thing. It looks like he may have gotten something right there before he went down.
Gastineau, the Jets all-pro in.
Of course, he had injured his ankle last week against New England. In fact, he left the stadium on crutches, so it could just be a re-injury of that ankle. Here we see now, here we see the cutback. Dickerson cuts right back into Gastineau, and I bet that's what it is. I bet it's just, again, having that foot planted, just twisting the ankle that was already injured.
That's a good point. Watching where Gastineau was. We were talking with John Robinson yesterday, and he said one of the keys to playing a 3-man line is that the offside defensive end has to come down the line and do exactly what Gastineau did right there.
Just like Gastineau does against the cutback.
Final score, St. Louis beat Philadelphia. First time they've been in the W column. The Cardinals, 14-11. Buffalo beat Houston 30-13 as the woes continue in Houston. Ben Rudolph is number 76, and he has taken Mark Gastineau's place at 3rd and 5, and we might see Ferragamo air it out for the first time. Larry Redmond is the running back. Ferragamo going deep. He has somebody. Ooh, almost a touchdown. George Farmer. Knocked away at the last second by Bobby Jackson.
Watch Farmer here again. This is just another up. This is about the 4th one that we've seen here in this first quarter where you just run. He just runs right by the corner, and then we see Jackson right at the end get his hand in there. I don't think he deflected it. I think that ball just hit George Farmer's shoulder pad.
That was Johnny Lynn who was back there with him, not Bobby Jackson. John Misko is the Rams runner standing at midfield. Those of you who've been watching the Cardinals and the Eagles, welcome to Shea Stadium in New York. Pat Summerall and John Madden. Rams leading the Jets 7-0. 85-yard touchdown run by Eric Dickerson. Misko tries to kick a knuckler. Hangs it just can't quite get there in time. Mitchell did his job. For another NFL update, let's take you again to Brent Musburger in our New York studio.
And Pat, for those who were not watching St. Louis and Philadelphia, this was the winning touchdown. Jim Hart had just had one call. Back he goes to Roy Green, and the Cardinals win for the first time this year. Back to Pat and John.
Pat Summerall, John Madden at Shea Stadium. Rams 7, Jets nothing. 9:42 left to play in the first quarter. The ball's up to Jets 20. Richard Todd back to throw. Out of the backfield of Freeman McNeil. Couple groups, couple of breaks. Jet first down. George Andrews finally took him up 13-yard gain.
See what the Jets are doing. You know, they started off the game going deep. Threw a couple of deep passes to Wesley Walker. That really tends to loosen up the defense. They start thinking deep. Then you can hit them underneath with that type of stuff to your backs and tight end.
Little breathing room now as they move out to their own 33s. The Jets. Jones and Walker, the wide receivers. Walker moves a little bit wider. And Richard Todd goes for Wesley Walker. Got him. Walker knocked out of bounds by Nolan Cromwell. But they move deep. 34-yard pickup. Good play.
That's it. They're going to throw deep to Wesley Walker today. We're watching here. Now, the Rams were in a zone. Kurt Collins, number 42, was short. Cromwell had the deep. You see, Collins is short. Cromwell has deep. He just didn't get over there, and the ball was hit right up along the sideline.
Those of you who watched Minnesota and Detroit, the Vikings, the winners, welcome to Shea Stadium in New York, where it's the Rams 7, the Jets nothing. 9 minutes left to play in the first quarter. Richard Todd looks deep again and overthrows his intended receiver, Dwayne Crutchfield. He might have just been getting rid of that.
I think he was, Pat. I think he was trying to throw back to Jerome Vargas, who was deep in the end zone and well covered. That was one of those things where you roll to the left and then throw back.
Which is sometimes very hard to execute. The big broad back of Phil Fain. Dennis Hara, the offensive line in conference.
You know, they're all talking about what they have to do the next time they get in there.
Talking about the stunts and those types of things the Jets are doing on defense.
It'll be 2nd and 10. Jets are at the Rams 33. Todd gives to McNeil, and McNeil runs into Reggie Doss, who's really been playing well.
That's what John Robinson was telling us yesterday. He said, you know, we just have a team defense. We really don't have one outstanding player. He said, but Reggie Doss is probably playing as well as anyone. Now, this looked like a little confused play here. Some kind of draw, but it didn't get much blocked over there on that right defensive side.
Very late start, 3rd and 16.
Reggie Doss, Hampton Institute.
8:15 left in the first quarter. Shea Stadium. Richard Todd. Throw on the infield dirt. But Jones. Johnny Lamb Jones. Inside the 5. 33-yard gain. Eric Harris made the stop.
There's Joe Walsh. He wants to throw the ball deep today. Wesley Walker, Lamb Jones. It's like just about every pattern, they've had someone going deep.
McNeil comes back in. Goal line offense now, and the Jets do make some changes. Crutchfield and Augustiniak. Let's see who the backs are. Crutchfield and McNeil, the 2 runners. Touchdown, McNeil. Penalty marker down, holding. Against the Jets.
That's usually where that flag came from. That's usually on the tight end. Of course, on a sweep, he would be the guy that would be instrumental in the blocking. would be over here on the right side. See, it's a sweeping play. Good block there by Crutchfield.
Number 82.
McNeil just runs outside of it.
It was the tight end, Mickey Schuler.
Of course, here's a big pass to Lamb Jones. Leroy Irvin, man-to-man.
First and goal now from the 15. Passing situation again. Rod quickly. Walker. Touchdown. Leroy Irvin was with him, but not close enough. That was a pretty impressive looking drive.
That was an impressive drive, and you see the Jets' game plan right now is to work on the Ram corners with their speed deep.
80 yards in 6 plays. 7-7. As Leahy adds the extra point, but there's a flag down.
Let's watch it out here. Now, Walker's the outside guy. Leroy Irvin, 47, man-to-man. He gets the bump here. Walker just goes to the outside. Beautiful pass up to the outside where Irvin didn't have a chance.
Not much way you can defend against that if it's thrown that well and you have an athlete of Walker's capability. 7-7 in the first quarter at Shea Stadium. Pat Summerall, John Madden, Shea Stadium. 7-7, Rams and Jets. 7:09 left to play first quarter. Ray drills it out of the end zone. Kick that ball 80 yards. There's the Jets scoring drive, 6 plays, 80 yards. And one touchdown call back because of a holding penalty that was scored by McNeil, and Todd came right back and hit Wesley Walker for the 6.
Pat Leahy looks like his back is okay, doesn't he? He had a back spasm last week. Didn't kick all week until Friday. In fact, they didn't know if he could play this week.
Mark Gastineau, the defensive end, who was limped off just a minute ago, is now back in the defensive lineup for the Jets. First down, Rams, their own 20, working out of the infield section of Shea Stadium. After the baseball season is over, they'll put sod down there. Newman in motion. Ferragamo back to throw. Oh, what a hit. George Farmer was level. Incomplete pass. Farmer really took a shot from Greg Butler. Well, Butler came up with the ball. It was Jerry Holmes who made the hit.
I think that was Darrell Ray. That's one of the things that's tough to throw a slant in there when that weak safety's just sitting there. That's one of those things that is probably the ball to the quarterback. Watch George Farmer out here. He's going to run a slant. Now watch you come right in here. See Darrell Ray, 28. He just zeroes right in on him. Gets there right at the same time the ball does. That was really one that shouldn't be thrown. And Vince Ferragamo, really, you can't get the ball in there on that.
It was Darrell Ray who made the hit. You're right, John. Dallas beat New Orleans 21-20. And those of you who watched the 4th Dallas victory, welcome to Shea Stadium in New York. We're at 7-7 between the Rams and the Jets with 6:59 left to play in the first quarter. This is George Farmer walking off after that hit by Darrell Ray. Still a little bit shaky, but walking under his own power with a little bit of an assist. Place has been taken by Gordon Jones. The Ram lineup. Jones goes out wide to the right. Otis Grant split wide to the left. It'll be 2nd and 10. On the 20. Ferragamo. Outside to Mike Barber, the tight end. Barber near a first down, hit by Ken Troy. Let's check some other scores. Third quarter, Baltimore 13, Chicago 6. The Bears just got a field goal by Thomas, but the Colts lead nevertheless. San Francisco on a touchdown pass from Montana to Dwight Clark, 7-0 over Atlanta. First quarter. Looks like the Niners are back. Cleveland 7, troubled San Diego 3. First quarter score. Venushka just kicked the field goal for the Chargers. 3rd and 1. Dickerson and Gooman, the two runners. Perdomo has a man wide open. Mike Gooman juggles. Ray comes up with it. Picks it up finally. Tried the lateral. Referee says he is down.
One of the differences in the Jet defense this year. Joe Walton was saying that Darrell Ray hasn't had any big plays this year. Now he comes up with 2 of them in a row. The Rams go short yardage. They go for a play pass at Gooman, but Darrell Ray comes up with it.
7-7. We're still in the first quarter with a lot of fireworks.
This is a good time to go a play pass. You see the Rams fake the run in here. Now, this brings up the corner here and this safety who they're trying to fake. Gooman comes out and up here. The guy they don't fake is a free safety right here, Darrell Ray. Now watch this. Now watch the effect it has on the 2 outside guys. They see run. Boom, they start to come up to stop it, but it doesn't affect Ray deep, and the ball is thrown right into the free safety. They faked 2 guys, but didn't fake 1.
Jets take over their own 37. Derek Gaffney in motion. Flea flicker quickly, and Todd under pressure. Penalty flags go down. Todd just throws it away. Found some open dirt and hit that. Jack Youngblood is the man who applied the pressure. And the Jets are going to be called for holding one more time.
That guy's an easy guy to find, that dirt, when he's open. He'll usually be open. One thing, I think the Jets have been throwing deep so much that they aren't going to fake the Rams. You know, they fake into the line, flea flicker back, and those Rams secondary guys, those corners.
Number 83, holding.
They're saying, the heck with that. I'm not going for that. I'm running deep. They had everything covered. Todd had no place to throw it to.
Holding call, the holding penalty against the tight end, Jerome Barkham. First down, 20. Jets move back to their own 27. Todd drops back quickly. Rams in a blitz. Barkham adds some yards, ducks his head, and gets some more. Picks up about 11. Carl Eckern on the tackle. See how he got open.
Well, we'll see it here. I think, again, the Rams secondary and linebackers are all thinking deep. Did you see that? Again, Todd threw the ball. But everyone's deep, and then Barkham runs a short pattern, so he's the open guy.
Andrews was the man who applied the pressure. It was Kurt Collins who made the tackle. Todd is now 7 out of 12 for 123 yards. 2nd and 9 from the 38-yard line of the Jets. They had the ball. Todd, handoff to McNeil. McNeil out of bounds at about the 45. Picked up 6. Kurt Collins knocked him out of bounds.
Yeah, there's Jim Collins. Now, he started today for Jim Youngblood. We just heard that he re-injured a hamstring, and that's what he has ice on, that left hamstring. So now we'll see the veteran Jim Youngblood back in there at that left inside linebacker position.
He, of course, has been a Ram for a long time, number 53. And as John Robinson said yesterday, he's been a great Ram. 3rd and 3. Side to McNeil. McNeil dives forward, very close to a first down. Kurt Collins again on the tackle. They think they got it.
See Joe Walton straining to look there. Of course, Joe Walton, the head coach, calls every offensive play. So he doesn't know, is it short yardage, is it 4th down, or is it 1st down? So he can't call the play until they tell him what it is. 1st down, now he knows.
Now he can call it. This is George Farmer over on the sideline with an ice bag on the back of his neck and back of his head. Dr. Robert Curlin with him, who heads the Rams medical staff, and of course he is one of the best in the world. Musburger.
Pat and Joe Theismann and the Washington Redskins are again showing why they won the Super Bowl last year. Play fake to John Riggins, freezes the Seahawks. Charlie Brown outruns the Seahawks secondary, dashes in a 64-yard touchdown. The Redskins are dominating early. Let's go back to Pat and John.
Right, Brent, and here it's 7-7. We have 4.5 minutes left to play in the first quarter. The Jets on the move again. Walker is split out wide to the right. Todd looks that way quickly. Walker has it. Kurt Collins up quickly to make the stop, but Walker got about 4 or 5.
That was an interesting play. He audibilized to that. Richard Todd did. He just looked right out at Wesley Walker and said some words. We saw Kurt Collins, the corner, playing deep, and he audibilized to a quick right in front of him. That's a good play. Picks up about 7 yards.
That is how Joe Walton gets the plays into the game. He alternates Gaffney and Jones. 16-6 now, the Colts over the Bears, and Washington 14-3 over Seattle. McNeil, the lone setback. Second down, they give to McNeil. McNeil's got a couple down, a couple of yards short of a first down. Mel Owens, the linebacker, made the stop. And here comes the play in again, this time with Lamb Jones.
Those guys can get tired, those receivers. They have to run from the sideline to the play, deep, then back to the sideline, then in again. They run about twice as much as some of the others.
Third down and 3. Jack Youngblood did a quick shoe tie. Pass picked off, and good night. Kurt Collins. Bob chases and takes down Kurt Collins. Nolan Cromwell deflected it, and Collins came up with it. And it looked like he was off to the races, but Richard Todd, who is an outstanding athlete, just showed you that that's a true statement.
There was a couple pretty good plays on this. The first one is Nolan Cromwell. Watch, he comes across, extends himself, hits the ball, and then there's Kurt Collins right there. But watch Richard Todd. He takes this angle. He has a good angle right here. It looks like Collins is beyond him, and right there he catches him from behind. Pretty good tackle for a quarterback.
Very good. And Collins is still down. Now he seems to be okay. A little bit upset with himself because he didn't go all the way with that one. 58 yards he did go. That's his 5th interception this season. He leads the NFL in that category.
Well, the two guys you hate to get caught by would be a quarterback or a kicker.
I agree. I can't remember catching anybody.
You ever chase any?
Yeah. First down, Rams. Ball is at the Jet 12. Draw play. Dickerson rams down to inside the 5. Lance Mel made the stop.
And we'll be able to see this later as we go, but one of the things the Rams are trying to do with Eric Dickerson is run away from the Jets' strong safety. Ken Schroy is number 48 for the Jets, and he'll line up left or right on the strong side, and they want to run back away from him. So wherever he lines up, he's going left. Now if the Rams run, they'd want to come back to their left.
Second and 3. Dickerson got 7. He has 99 yards on the day. Dickerson cuts back into the end zone. Touchdown, Rams. He goes over 100, and the Rams get back in the lead.
That's just what we were talking about. That's just what they wanted to do. Schroy was over on the right, and they ran to the left where they don't have any force of support. Watch this. Now, Schroy is over there on the right. Now, back here, there's no one back there. See, Darrell Ray is a safety. He's off, and he gets there right about the time that Dickerson's up. See, now, there's Schroy over here. So you put him over there, they say. Now, run away from him because you don't get that quick force of support. Pretty good idea. It works, huh?
Solid idea. Chuck Nelson will try to add the extra point to make it 14-7 Rams. Eric Dickerson has scored both Ram touchdowns. One from 85 yards out, that one from 5 yards out. He's over 100 yards, and we're still in the first quarter. 2:13 left to play. It's the Rams 14, New York Jets 7. Pat Summerall and John Madden from Shea Stadium in New York, where the Los Angeles Rams lead the New York Jets 14-7. 2 touchdowns by Eric Dickerson. There's the scoring drive. The interception set up everything. Nelson to kick off. Springs and Hector. Preston Brown. Now this time back. Brown with the ball. Look out. Brown. Good return. The Jets will have good spot from which to operate. As Brown gets out after a 46-yard return out close to midfield.
Let's watch what happens now. Now, Brown starts up like he's going inside. See, that brings the whole Ram coverage to the inside. The contained man doesn't stay out there. He breaks through there. Now he'll cut out here and up the sideline. And the only guy left is Chuck Nelson, the guy who kicked the ball.
And a pretty good tackle for a kicker.
Yeah, we saw a kicker make a tackle and a quarterback make one. Ooh, what a day.
Milestone day. Gaffney comes in motion. Todd gets to McNeil. McNeil back inside. Cuts up for about 5 for an NFL update. Let's take you to our New York studio and Brent Musburger.
Pat, Willie Gault has done it again for the Chicago Bears, his 4th touchdown in 2 weeks. This one out of the shotgun from Vince Evans, who has replaced Jim McMahon. McMahon again shaken up. This one goes 57 yards for the speedster from Tennessee, but the Bears missed the extra point, trail by 4. Back now to Pat and John.
The Rams 14, the Jets. Preston Brown made his first return for the Jets, a good one. Jets will operate in Ram territory. Jets. There is our friend, the big one in the jacket, Jerry Cooney. He is a big guy.
I'll tell you, he's quite a guy, too. He really loves life and enjoys it and everything. He was just up in the booth here a few seconds ago. Now he's down there signing autographs, shaking hands. It looks like he's going to run for mayor or something. Ought to give him a baby.
He can do just about whatever he wants to, First and 10. Give the ball to Crutchfield this time. He goes straight ahead. Line of scrimmage is now down about the Ram 37 on the dirt portion just in front of second base, or where it would be.
Oh, that's good. Get down there, a little dirt, a little grass. You see Chris Ward, number 72 of the Giants, throwing through, the heat of the battle in the trenches. He and Reggie Doss going at it. That's the way it should be.
I knew you'd like that.
Yeah, I like you. People don't get dirty enough anymore. Remember, used to be a kid, you'd come in, your mother would say, hey, you can't come in that house with those clothes on.
Leave the clothes outside.
Yeah.
You can keep them.
Shoes.
Here's Todd time. Crutchfield. Brought down by Carl Eckern, but the Jets get another first down and move deeper into Ram territory.
I was glad to see Crutchfield catch that ball. Remember, yesterday at practice, he and Freeman McNeil were working on dropping the ball and their reactions after they did it.
Every time they threw a pass in his direction, it hit him in the head. The Jets, Freeman McNeil, their outstanding running back, going off the field, heading for x-rays on his bruised left shoulder. Bruce Harper is taking his place. Richard Todd under pressure. Jack Youngblood came storming up the middle. That's the first sack of Todd. He's been under pressure before. Preston Denard, who got hurt against the Giants early in the year, loosening up on the sideline. He had a bad ankle. Word that we got yesterday was he probably would not make an appearance. Now with Farmer shaken up, the Rams already thin and wide receivers, he might make an appearance.
They really are. As you say, Preston Denard had the ankle. Remember Henry Eller to make that great catch against the Giants who broke his clavicle. He's out. They lost Drew Hill in the preseason. Really had a rash of injuries at that wide receiver position.
And yet Ferragamo is off to an outstanding start. Here's Todd, second down. Standing in the pocket this time. Completes the pass to Wesley Walker. Nolan Cromwell right there in a hurry. For another NFL update, let's take you again to Brent Musburger.
Halfback out in the Northwest, Jim Zorn from the shotgun now is rallying the Seahawks. He'll go to his favorite target here, Steve Largent. It's a 13-yard touchdown. Washington still leads Seattle, however, because of 2 touchdowns, 14-10. Let's go back to Pat and John.
That Seattle team looks rather formidable this year. 3rd down, 16. Scott Durkee in the jet backfield now. Rowan Harper. Caught again under pressure. George Andrews, the defender. Let's check out Jack Youngblood.
He's going here against Marvin Powell, number 79. You see, he starts that move up the field. He really didn't get into him soon enough, but that's good pass protection by Marvin Powell. He waits, he lets him come up the field, and just ride him to the outside, and Youngblood got inside at the end.
So it'll be 4th down. Jack Youngblood, the veteran who is adapted to that 3-man front better, I think, than anyone thought he might. Ramsey, the jet punter. Hangs it high. That should be very effective. Into the end zone. Just kept staying up there. 36-yard punt, no return. But they'll bring it back out to the 20. Rams leading the Jets 14-7. We have 13:29 left to play in the first half. Cleveland 14, San Diego 3 in the second quarter. Air Coryell has been grounded. The Raiders nothing, Denver nothing, second quarter. And San Francisco hasn't been grounded. They lead Atlanta 14-0. Montana and Clark have combined one more time for the second 49er touchdown. First down, Los Angeles. Ball at their own 20. Eric Dickerson, the lone setback. Mike Gooman in motion. Dickerson cuts out to about the 22, 23 maybe. John Woodring tripped him up.
Let's watch here again. They're running away from the strong safety. Now watch Buttle come up here to the outside, and he just gets kicked out by Jackie Slater, and there goes Eric Dickerson running inside that block. Pretty good block by the tackle. Started in right to the outside, kicked out the linebacker.
The Baltimore Orioles have beaten Milwaukee 5-1. They have clinched their championship. They'll play the White Sox. The playoffs begin. Eric Dickerson rams that Ram helmet outside the 30 and gets Los Angeles first down.
An interesting thing about that first down is that's the Rams' 3rd first down today. The other 2 had also been by Eric Dickerson, and they were both touchdowns.
Nobody else has carried the ball. 8 carries, 115 yards for Dickerson. That's a pretty good start. Of course, the big one was the 85-yard scamper. Dickerson is replaced by Barry Ritton. Jackie Slater was ready to get on with it.
He got a good start.
Yeah.
He blew out there.
Quick. He's quick off the ball.
Yeah. He beat the ball.
That's really quick.
Watch him take off. He's the second guy in there. What? Hut. What? Hut. No, wait. It's going on 3. Jackie, it's only 2. Look, hit that guy. Go get some more. And Gastineau came in and hit Hara, and then Hara got mad at Gastineau.
Jackie Slater was the only one right. No. Well, that can be misleading, can't it?
What you do with the possession.
First and 15, Barry Ritton takes the pitch back from Ferragamo. Ritton looking for somewhere to go. Mark Gastineau is over there quickly. Marty Lyons over there quickly.
Let's watch him again here. Now the cutback, we see Gastineau coming down the line of scrimmage. We see Klecko inside. The guy that has the cutback right there is that off end. We see Lyons make it, and there's Gastineau right in position for it.
That's just good defense. Klecko's involved as well. So it'll be second down now as Redden comes off, replaced by Dickerson, who has really developed. Of course, he's an outstanding runner, but he's developed as a pass receiver, too. Ferragamo about 5 yards on that pass completion.
You know, on defense, how they always have it like a big tackle hangs around the line of scrimmage. And he has a draw on the screen, chews tobacco and that stuff. On offense, they have the same type of guy. Usually, the other guys go deep. Some guy hangs around that line of scrimmage for that drop. Well, that's the kind of guy Barber is. Doesn't go deep, kind of hangs around there. If everything's covered deep, they give him the ball.
Another one of those guys with a pickup truck.
Yeah, pickup truck. Shotgun. Willie Nelson for president.
Right. A lot of bumper stickers. Ferragamo. Otis Grant had a chance and couldn't quite bring it down. Good throw by Ferragamo. He had a chance to catch this. It would have been a good catch.
One of the things about this is we see Otis Grant coming in here. Now watch, it's a little tough when you come in from that grass to the dirt. That's not an excuse. That would have been a great catch out of Gator. You know, you go from the grass and you take a step down into that dirt. Sometimes that throws your eyes off.
There's John Misko. Mike Harmon back deep for the Jets. Misko to punt. Trying to hold up the two wide people, the Ram coverage unit. Oh, good kick. Misko hangs this one up there a long time. Harmon at his own 21. Still on his feet. Rams do a good job down there quickly. Robert Alexander goes down quickly. 49-yard punt, 7-yard return.
Let's watch what they try and do. Now, when the ball snaps, the only two guys that can lead are the two outside guys. Now, watch the Jets, the job they do holding them up. Right here, they have two on this guy, and they have two out here. Now, watch, because they're the only guys that can go. See, now, I have both of them doubled, and they do a good job of holding them up. See, keep them there on the line so that your return man can get the ball free.
That is one of your thankless positions when you're trying to get downfield and two people are trying to keep you from doing it. 10:18 left to play in the first half. It's the Rams 14, the Jets 7. Richard Todd drops back to pass quickly. Throws outside. Has Dwayne Crutchfield, and Crutchfield drags a couple of Rams for Jet first down out to the 40. 15-yard gain. Average yards on first down, the Rams 2.2. The Jets 7.2.
The Rams have only had 3 first downs. Yeah, how Todd got that ball through there, I have no idea. There were 2 Ram rushers, and he threw it right between them. Let's watch that. Look, there's Youngblood. He has his hands up. Someone else had their hands up, and he threw it right between them and hit Crutchfield with it.
Johnny Hector in the backfield now for the Jets, and this is Texas A&M. Out to about the 43, Nolan Cromwell came up to make the stop. Carl Eckern helped out.
Of course, Johnny Hector's in there because Freeman McNeil injured his shoulder. Like you said earlier, they took him into the locker room to x-ray that shoulder.
There's the book on Johnny Hector, a rookie from Texas A&M. It'll be 2nd and 7. Jets operating from their own 43-yard line. Richard Todd looking over the defense. Here's a lone setback. Schuler goes in motion. Todd to throw. Has Mickey Schuler, and he'll have another Jet first down. Big, strong backup tight end who plays a lot. It's Mickey Schuler. Eckern knocked him out of bounds.
That's the same type of thing. You know, the tight end hanging around underneath there. The Jets started out throwing deep all the time. And now watch, a little roll here. Everyone goes deep. Schuler, you go short. They don't cover that short guy. Oh, there goes the ball. Let's watch the blocking in the pitch. Here's Joe Fields, 65, against Greg Meisner. I think Fields is one of the best centers in the league.
Every time.
Snap up and get your hands right up there.
Every time we've seen him, he's been an outstanding performer. First down, Dwayne Crutchfield now is alone, set back, and Crutchfield gets the carry. He barrels for about 5 or 6. Jim Youngblood made the stop.
tell you, they got good movement in there. To run against a three-man line, you have to get movement on that nose tackle. If the nose tackle dominates the center, you can't run inside. That time, Fields got Meisner. Dan Alexander came out on Youngblood, and they got a good push on that Ram defense.
So it'll be 2nd and 4. Jets at the Ram 42. Running at just over 8 minutes left to play first half. Field again. He has a lot of ability. Big, strong guy, weighs about 230. Gary Jeter, on the Ram defense, made the stop. 3rd and 2.
Again, that time they held up pretty well in the middle of that defense. They do a pretty good job. Let's watch it here. We'll see Meisner on field. You see it's a double team. Alexander comes down on him. They don't get any movement in there, so they don't get the big play, and they end up 3rd and short.
Over on the Los Angeles bench, the offensive line getting some readjustments. It'll be 3rd down. 2. Sack. Lost the ball. Rams trying to pick it up. Can't pick it up. Let's see who got the ball. They're really in the dirt now. Youngblood down there in the back.
He was the first guy there. He was the guy that hit Todd.
Rams got it.
It's like Mel Owens there, number 58.
That's right. That's the 3rd Jet turnover.
Richard Todd saying, I didn't even see him coming. Who's supposed to block Youngblood? Watch him come from the right-hand side of the screen. So we start right there. Todd is looking. He's ready to pass. Right there. Excuse me. That was Mel Owens who made that hit.
Right. Here comes Youngblood.
There's Youngblood. He's trying to pick it up. He can't. Defensive lineman can't pick it up. Linebacker, yeah, they have a chance.
Owens made the recovery as well as made the hit. Next Saturday, the NCAA today. Pittsburgh against West Virginia, plus other regional action, 12 noon Eastern Time. That West Virginia club looks pretty good. Next Saturday, here on CBS. Right here today on CBS, it's the Rams 14, the Jets 7. Dickerson and Gooman. Now Gooman flanks to the right side and goes in motion. That inside trap. Here's Dickerson. Eric Dickerson flashes down to about the 24-yard line. Stopped by Ken Troy. 18 yards for Dickerson. He's got quick feet. He's a big, tall guy.
Let's watch his play again. We'll see Gooman goes in motion. He becomes the lead guy right there. See, he leads through. Here comes Dickerson. Good block by Gooman. Dickerson gets man-to-man on Darrell Ray. See, on the free safety. That's the way they're still running. Away from the strong safety, Troy, at the free safety, Darrell Ray.
Tony Collins had a big day against the Jets last week. Dickerson is off to a great start today. John Woodring stops Eric this time. Rams paid him a lot of money, Dickerson, but he's going to earn it.
Well, he wears a lot of stuff. He got stuff on his wrists, his elbows, his neck. He's wearing glasses, stuff across his nose. New shoes. You know, he wore the same shoes on grass as artificial turf. They say that he was slipping too much. So now he's wearing some different shoes today with longer cleats. See, the problem is he puts tape on there and probably tapes the cleats.
There they go again, a little preliminary engagement. Gastineau and Slater involved in a little difference of opinion. It's against the Rams. Said he kept those same shoes on because he was comfortable with those shoes. This is Dickerson we're talking about.
Well, remember in the first game against the Giants, he injured his toe. He had one of those artificial turf toe injuries. So he didn't want to break in a new pair of shoes because he'd already had them broken in. He just stayed with them. And of course, today everyone's a specialist and everything is a specialist. And you can't wear turf shoes on grass. No.
Maybe he needs a shoe specialist. 2nd and 12. David Hill in motion. This is Dickerson on the draw play. No place to go this time, although he does gets a few yards, I should say, down to the 25. Kenny Neal was the first man to hit him.
You know, the other thing about Dickerson is in the first 3 games, he had 6 fumbles. That's one thing that you really can't coach, nor can you coach against. It's really something you can't talk about because they don't try and do it, and you start talking about it, then they get so conscious. As Dickerson says, if I start thinking about that, I would become robotic.
A lot of times fumbles come from extra effort. You're trying to get some extra yardage. Preston Denard is in the game now for the Rams. And Ferragamo drops the throw. Receiver trip intended for Otis Grant. He came off the grass and onto the infield dirt and fell down. He was covered by Ken Schroy.
I think that was one of those things where Schroy had the position and Grant ran into him.
4th down, Chuck Nelson. The Rams rookie place kicker, Nolan Cromwell, will hold. They think he'll be a good kicker.
I was watching him kick from here in the pregame, and he didn't make a 1.
42 yards out. This is a tough place to kick. He still hasn't made a 1. Penalty flag down. Let's wait and see. The Jets are acting like it's against the Rams. And it is. The winds here at Chase Stadium, I'm sure you've heard if you watch pro football and remember over the years, are so very tricky that it's a very hard place. Flag just fluttering. You can see the markers, the flags, the ribbons up on top of the goalpost, not moving that much. But the wind does swirl around, and it's a hard place to judge which direction it's going. That's just another thing for the kickers to think about.
Well, he was thinking about that, as I said. In the pregame, he was warming up at those exact same spots, and I was watching him today, and he didn't make the 1 of them. Now they're signaling back for the field goal team to come in again. The Rams must have, the Jets must have taken a penalty.
On the offense, prior to the snap. Therefore, the kick was never made officially. They have a re-kick.
Well now, false start before the snap. Therefore, the kick was never made. I bet you Chuck Nelson doesn't know that. And he'll have a re-kick if they want to, and I guess they will. This will be 47 yards out.
You think he wants to re-kick it?
I know I would if I were in his shoes.
This is a tough spot. Look, he's right on the edge of the grass and the dirt. He has to start in the dirt and kick off the grass. This is a tough kick.
Yes, it is. Jet fans, of course, not very happy about this. Nelson has it blocked, and the Jets are going to score a touchdown. Jerry Holmes kicked it off in the air, and the game is about to be tied. 57 yards. Said, John, that was a tough kick. And I'm not sure that one ever really got too far up in the air. It was a low kick.
It didn't. It was a bad snap. Nolan Cromwell was the holder, and it was a little low snap, and he didn't get the ball right up there, so the timing on the entire kick was off.
Thad Leahy with a chance to get the Jets even. 4:17 left to play first quarter. This one was partially blocked by the Rams, but nevertheless got through the uprights, and it's 14-14.
Let's see if we can watch that hold in the kick again. Nolan Cromwell, 21, is the holder. Now watch this snap. It was a little to his inside, you see, and then it kind of slipped as he was putting it down. But as you say, Pat, the ball never did get up. Cromwell did a good job of getting that ball down.
Good play
again, Pat. It comes from the inside. They say it's Marty Lyons. See the rush from the outside. What? It's a low kick, and it's knocked right down, right in there. It says number 77. Excuse me, Kenny Neal. What a bounce it took for the Jets to do after it was blocked. It was blocked right in the middle. Never got up.
Low kick. 14-14, second quarter. 47 left to play. Leahy will kick off, and it's Barry Redden back into the Rams. 1 yard deep in the end zone. He decides to bring it out. Gets out to just about the 20-yard line. The Rams will take over. Stan Blinkham made the stop. Chicago 19, Baltimore 19, fourth quarter. San Francisco 14-7 over Atlanta. The Raiders lead Denver 7-0. They look like they may never lose. Cleveland 14, San Diego 10. Washington 20, Seattle 10. Joe Walton watching his team and hoping that they've come back together, particularly on defense. We'll see. Eric Dickerson is the Rams setback. Ferragamo going right to work. Outside Dickerson. To the 26. Dickerson hit by Woodring. Ferragamo today 3 out of 8 for 21 yards. The 1 interception. Up until now, that's the way he's done. He's off to a very strong start. 17 out of 28 against the Giants, 17 of 30 against New Orleans, and 20 out of 30 last week against the Packers. It'll be 2nd and 3 now. 7-yard pickup on the pass completion from Ferragamo to Dickerson. 2 tight end setup, 2 wide receivers. Dickerson the lone setback. They give to Dickerson. And a penalty flag is dropped as Dickerson is short of a first down by a couple. Martin Gastineau made the first contact. Against the Rams.
That was a good play by Gastineau. You know, we've been talking about who has the cutback. It's always the defensive end. That time Dickerson started to the left, cut back to his right, and there was Gastineau knifing down the line of scrimmage.
Offense, holding, number 60. Second down.
Dennis Cara, of course, is number 60. It'll be 2nd and 13, and Ferragamo will have to go to work in the air. Barry Redden in the backfield. Dickerson is on the sideline. Protection is adequate. David Hill, the intended receiver. The Jets almost came up with an interception. Ken Schroy, Darrell Ray, both involved in the coverage. Rams really depleted in wide receivers. Here comes Preston Denard in. Barber comes out.
Here's Jackie Slater and Mark Gastineau. Watch the left-hand side of the screen. Every time anyone plays Gastineau, they always get help with a tight end. See that? The tight end hit him, then the tackle hit him, then the guard hit him. He draws a crowd.
He does. 3rd and 13. Let's don't blitz much. Gordon Jones comes up with a catch for the Rams. He signals first down. 46-yard gain, a good throw by Ferragamo.
Gordon Jones, of course, the Rams just picked him up. Remember, he played for Tampa Bay. He runs a good pattern here. It's a deep post. Ferragamo looked short first, then came off deep. The Rams had 2 guys in there. You saw David Hill, 81, was right with them. Let's watch the pass protection here. Again, here's Jackie Slater doing a good job on Gastineau. You see, he gets his hands on him, gets his momentum stopped, so he doesn't get to the quarterback.
Well, that is a good job. Pass blocking.
That's the thing you have to do to those ends. You have to jam them to stop their momentum. I've always felt that Jackie Slater, the right tackle of the Rams, is one of the best tackles in this league.
Boy, he sure showed it there. First down Rams at the Jet 37. Dickerson to about the 35. John Woodring was the first Jet to hit him.
Rams didn't get much movement there offensively, and that's one of the things John Robinson was talking about that he wants to change. He said that they've been a finesse type offense where they, just hit and then they turn real quick and try and create holes rather than driving into them and driving them off the line of scrimmage. And he wants more of that. He didn't get it on that play.
Dickerson got 2. It'll be 2nd and 8. Ball at the Jet 34. Ferragamo looking. Incomplete. Intended for the tight end Mike Barber, and here comes the penalty marker down. Ken Schroy was involved in the coverage, and he's upset about this call, and I'm sure so is Joe Walton.
I'll tell you, Schroy was right on Barber. Looked like pretty good coverage to me. The officials are over there huddling now to make sure that he feels that way. So one's telling what he saw, the other one's telling what he saw. The one in the black hat is the referee. He's the head, and he's the guy who will make the final decision. What do you got? What do you got? This is what it is.
Against the Jets. The officiating crew, by the way, is Tom Hensley, Norm Craigship, Bob Beeks, Dave Perry, Don Orr, the ex-Vanderbilt quarterback, and Pete Lisk, the ex-Penn State and ex-Jet quarterback.
Let's see if we can watch this again. It's going to be a pass to the tight end, Mike Barber, number 86. Ken Schroy, the strong safety, is man-to-man on him. See, he has him covered well. Now, in that picture, there was no interference.
Right.
Schroy was just going for the ball. Had he held him before the ball was thrown, here it is here. We can see him. Second guy in. Barber does a hook. Schroy comes up. Unless he bumped him before the ball got there.
That could be the only way interference could have been called. Nevertheless, it's a Ram first down. They move to the Jet 25. 10:209 left to play first half. David Hill in motion. Fake to Dickerson. Gets it to Hill, incomplete. Right there with him, John Woodring. They had that one covered extremely well.
That was good coverage by Woodring. They had brought Hill in motion, faked the run through the middle. Woodring went for the fake and just stayed right there and picked up David Hill.
Second down.
Let's watch it real quick here. We'll see Hill come in. See him here? Woodring sees it's not a run, sees it's a pass, comes right up on Hill. He was covered too well to even try and throw it.
Gastineau put a little pressure on Ferragamo and he had to unload. They give to Dickerson. Dickerson slips as he cut back inside. He did a lot of slipping last week at County Stadium in Milwaukee. Kent Hill, the blocker in front.
Well, the reason that he slipped last week is he was cutting off his wrong foot. He was cutting off his inside foot.
We get the 2-minute notification now, and Ferragamo comes over to check with John Robinson, and Joe Walton also gets the notification. 2 minutes to go in the first half. Pat Summerall and John Madden at Shea Stadium. 14-14, excuse me, John.
Yeah, I was just saying, watching that last play, watch Greg Buttle, 51, come across and take on Kent Hill, and that's why Dickerson slipped that time. You see right there, he stepped on Kent Hill's foot. That was no crossover or shoes or anything. That was a good play by the linebacker, Greg Buttle.
Eric Dickerson has carried 13 times for 143 yards, averaging 11 yards a carry, and he has both Ram touchdowns. Preston Denard in the game, and the slot to the left side. Ferragamo. That's Denard. They say keep the clock running. Denard at one time had a first down. Johnny Wynn on the coverage. I'm not sure if he still had the first down when he went out of bounds or not.
That's one thing you never do when you have the first down. In this situation, it's a third down play, and you always keep the first down. Now watch this. It's going to be very close, but Denard's coming across the field. Ferragamo finds him here, gives him the ball. Now right now, when he catches the ball, he has a first down right here. Then he goes back. Of course, it was a good tackle, too, by Johnny Lynn. And that's bringing a mark up here.
Short of a first down.
short, this is an interesting decision because it brings up 4th down.
Well, I think John Robbins has already made the decision. He's going to go for it. Ferragamo's a big, strong quarterback. Quarterback sneak is about as safe a way as you can go for that first down.
Notice that those referees, when it's 4th down, they always give you that thing, those inches.
Yeah.
That's to excite the crowd. In case you kick it, they all boo you.
Coach. It's a conspiracy against the coaches, really.
They don't do it on 1st down. They don't say 1st down, 10 yards. 4th down, they always give you that deal.
Dickerson and Redden are the 2 Ram backs. That's movement in motion. And off Dickerson. Maybe, maybe not. It's going to be close.
I don't think so. I don't even think he got back to the line of scrimmage.
He really got cut down, and no, they didn't make it.
Let's watch his defense. The motion brings the strong safety across. Watch Woodring here. He comes in. He's the guy that's going to make the hit. The middle linebacker, John Woodring. He read that all the way. I formation, second back through Dickerson. He's just getting the line of scrimmage, and there's Woodring. And Neal, and a whole bunch of guys in there.
And so the Jets hold. Joe Walton has turned his hat around. Looking outside, has his man Scott Durkee. He gets out to about the 23. Jets hurry up. No huddle. Fred Silva slows him down just a little bit. 2nd and 2. Jets quickly go after it. Durkee again. He got the first down. Slips a couple of tackles. Gets out to the 34. Mel Owens makes the stop. And now the Jets do take one of their timeouts. They have 2 left. .48 seconds left to play in the first half at Shea Stadium, with the score tied at 14 apiece. 48 seconds left first half. 14-14, Rams and Jets. Don't forget at the half, Brent Musburger and Irv Cross will update what's happened throughout the NFL today. Joe Walton looking on here with 48 seconds to go and 2 timeouts remaining. Scott Durkee and Bruce Harper were the 2 Jet backs. This is Harper. First down Jets, and they'll take another timeout, I'm sure.
Now there's an interesting story. Bruce Harper, talking about doctors and surgeries and so on. He just had knee surgery 2 weeks ago. He had an arthroscope, and he's back playing.
They don't take the timeout. They go quickly. It goes deep for Walker. That'll stop the clock. Derek Harris and Kirk Collins back on the coverage. Todd is 16 out of 24 for 203 yards. 1 touchdown, 1 interception. Touchdown to Wesley Walker.
When you throw deep, it tends to stop a lot of things, including some heart sometimes, depending on which side you're on. The Jets started out that way. They started out throwing deep, and they went into the underneath type thing. And now getting down here with 20 seconds left to go, I'm sure we're going to see some more deep ones.
Rams put the heat on Todd, and Gary Jeter tears him down. The ex-Giant happy in Los Angeles. Clock stops with 17 seconds left to play. Watch Jeter.
He's coming right up the middle from the left-hand side of the screen. He was just man-to-man there, and the left guard just went right, took his outside shoulder and beat him.
Now it's Pellegrini. Harper. Down. Johnny Johnson made the stop. Baltimore got hurt. Pellegrini had taken his place at left guard for the Jets. That sack by Jeter just about finished off whatever the Jets had in mind for first half. They take a timeout. They do have some other ideas, don't they?
I think there's 1 second left. I think they tried to get a timeout. They got it with 1 second left.
So there'll be time for one more play. Jets will have time to plot. The score is tied at Shea Stadium. The Rams 14, the Jets 14. The preceding message was brought to you by the National Football League. 1 second to go.
When we were at the Jets practice yesterday, we saw them practice in this last play. Although they aren't going to do it, looks like they're just going to kneel down.
I wonder why they called the timeout if they were just going to do that.
Probably had second thoughts about it.
I guess that's exactly right. Joe Walton takes his Jets into their locker room. John Robinson. And the Rams go to there. It's 14-14 in what has been a very exciting first half. Scores and highlights coming up in just a minute with Brenton Earl. 14-14 at the half at Shea Stadium between the Rams and the Jets. A very unusual first half. The Jets tied the score. They missed a field goal, the Rams did. There was a penalty against them before the play had started. They tried the field goal again. The Jets blocked it, or it was a low kick. And they went for the touchdown from a long way out. And that's how the score ended. That's how quickly this game can turn around.
I think it is. I think the second half is going to be real interesting. Looks like the Jets may be playing the second half without Freeman McNeil. Of course, what the Jets are going to have to do defensively is stop Eric Dickerson, who already has 144 yards in the first half. That's the key. They have to stop the run, and specifically this guy right here, Eric Dickerson.
Well, of course, they knew that going in. What about from a Rams viewpoint? What do they have to do?
Well, I think they have to stop the deep threat. I think they have to stop Wesley Walker and Lamb Jones going deep, because that's the way the Jets started playing in the first half. They came out throwing deep against the two Ram corners, and I think if they're going to be successful this half, the Rams, they're going to have to stop those guys deep.
The Rams have done a good job protecting Vince Ferragamo. The Jets have not done that good a job protecting Richard Todd. The Rams already have 3 sacks. If they can continue to do that, they'll be okay.
CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League is sponsored by Valvoline. Valvoline is everything you need in a motor oil. IBM. And by Avis. Trying harder makes Avis second to none.
Back at Shea Stadium for one more half of football with the Rams and the Jets tied at 14 apiece. Sellout crowd. Rams and Jets both out of the dressing room. They've had their sessions with the two head coaches. And we'll be underway with the second half before too much longer. Freeman McNeil, the Jets' fine runner and the leading runner in the NFL last year in the strike-shortened season, I don't believe he'll be back in the second half.
No, they took him in the first half. He injured his shoulder, and they said they were going to x-ray the shoulder. Now we have word that he will not play in the second half, although we don't have word as to the result of the x-rays.
Halftime statistics, John.
I'll tell you, the Rams got their 14 points. It was interesting, though. They only had 6 first down, but look at that rushing yardage, all Eric Dickerson.
143 to 42. This would be the third consecutive week that running backs have had good success against that Jet defense. There's George Farmer, number 84, who really took a solid hit in the first half and sat out. He was cutting across the middle. He was really nailed by Darrell Ray. But now he looks like most of the cobwebs are gone.
Right. They said he took that shot in the first half, but they're just going to see how he feels, and he'll probably play this half.
Well, he's got his helmet on, and that's a sign that at least he would like to play.
That's it. When they put that hat on and then stick that mouthpiece in, they have some intentions of getting out the other side of that white line.
Yep. Put the mouthpiece in, you can't object. They try to put you in. Lay will kick off for the Jets to begin the second half. Barry Redden, number 30, back deep for the Rams. They like him to handle it.
Get that band out of there.
Leahy hangs it high, but Redden will handle. 4-yard line. remains unbeaten. They got a safety on a blitz by Anthony Dickerson to beat New Orleans 21-20. And Minnesota beat Detroit 20-17. Minnesota and Dallas will meet next week in Minnesota. That's where we'll be. It'll also be Tampa Bay at Green Bay and Detroit against these Los Angeles Rams. That'll be at 3:30 Eastern Time. A Ram player down. I believe that's Redden. Marion Barber is the man who made the hit that caused Redden to be down, and he's the man who's down as well. Green one and a white one down.
That was something here. Most returns are to the middle. This one was to the left side. We'll see Barber come down. He gets hit, and as he's falling, he goes right into Redden. Barry Redden is up and walking off the field. Barber is still down.
Barber is the Jets' best on special teams. Redden being attended to over in front of the Ram bench. Barber is now at least in a sitting position.
One thing is we see Dr. James Nicholas there. One thing they don't want to do with an injured player is to move him or get him up before he's ready or the doctor's ready. One thing I like, they're not putting their fingers up and asking them how many fingers. They always put up 2 and you always say 2, no matter what state of coherency you're in.
Even if it's 5, you say 2. There's Redden over on the Ram bench. They both appear to be seriously injured. Barber headed in the other direction. And now Vince Ferragamo, who didn't have one of his better first halves, but nevertheless, Eric Dickerson did, the man next to him, number 29. And it's 14-14, and Joe Walton's got his hat on backwards again.
He changed his hat last week. The equipment man gave him a different color. I think he wore white last week. And he said that didn't work. Maybe he'd switch her again today and see how that one works out.
That was Jim Ringo's hat he was wearing, the white one. This one may be his. Dickerson, the lone setback. The Rams will operate from their own 19. Boone is in motion. This is Dickerson. He might have a yard. Joe Flacco, Mark Gastineau playing side by side now instead of the opposite defensive ends. Lead the Jet defense. Flacco came up as a defensive tackle. Then they moved him out to defensive end, and he and Gastineau were the leaders of that sack exchange. Now they've moved him back into tackle. Abdul Salam would normally be there. He's out with a bad shoulder. It'll be 2nd and 7 as Dickerson got 3. Dickerson. Pretty good juke. Johnny Wynn came up to make the stop. Dickerson very nearly got first down yardage.
Yeah, there's old Ken Schroy out there talking to himself. It was one of those things, I got him. Hey, where'd he go? You know, that's why you can't talk to a great talent like an Eric Dickerson about cutting off the wrong foot or fumbling or whatever, because that stuff is just instinct and reaction. You don't think about those things. Once you get a guy like that thinking, you're in trouble, and so is he.
3rd and about a half yard. Ball at the Jet 28. In a situation like this, the Ram 28 pitches back to Dickerson. He didn't get it. He had to wait for the pitch back. Kenny Neal was the man who made the stop, but the pitch back from Ferragamo was a little bit behind Dickerson, and he had to wait for it.
Yeah, it looked like a different type of pitch. It looked like something happened to it on the way. We see the motion, man. You know what happened on that? Ferragamo had to wait for the fullback to clear. A.J. Jones was a fullback, and he couldn't pitch it until Jones cleared. Watch it. You see the first back there? He had to wait for him to get in front, and then by that time it was a little late, and good Jet defense.
John Misko. Didn't get all of this. Mike Harmon signaled fair catch, dropped it, and then dropped on it himself.
Of course, you can have a fair catch, but you still have to catch the ball. All that means is the Rams can't touch it. See, now he can drop it. The Rams could have recovered that, but he wasn't there in order to do it.
So it's still 14-14 as the Jets take over. 14-14, Kirk Collins on the sideline. The Rams has been replaced by Eric Harris. Collins hurt himself on that interception return in the first half. Be more serious than we thought. Todd, that's Crutchfield. He got 2 perhaps, and that's all. Freeman McNeil not back.
You know, talking about Kirk Collins and that interception return, it did look like he may have pulled a groin on that play right at the end. And that's why he's on the sideline now. And, of course, Eric Harris is in there, number 26 in the left corner. He was the guy that they got in a trade with the Kansas City Chiefs. He was a good player at one time.
From Memphis State. Spent some time in Canada. And fake the blitz and then back out. Todd throws quickly. Walker had it, dropped it. Leroy Irvin, the defender. A couple of other scores. San Diego has come back to take the lead from Cleveland. A 34-yard pass from Dan Fouts to Wes Chandler. 24-21 there in the third quarter, like we are. And Washington still leads Seattle 20-10. Third down. Some problems, I think, John, with the clock, as the officials are in a conference right now.
That was what Richard Todd said. How about the clock? Incomplete pass has to stop the clock.
The scoreboard clock is not correct. The time will be kept on the field until it's corrected. There's approximately 13 minutes left in the quarter.
Well, you heard Fred Silva's message, and Freeman McNeil, we have just been informed, has a separated shoulder, and he'll be out for 6 to 8 weeks. What a blow that is for the Jets and Jet fans. 3rd and 8. Bruce Harper is the lone runner. Back to throw. Gets it out to Harper. Harper scrambles around. Came very near to a first down a couple of times as he was whirling, but didn't get it.
That was an interesting play. Watch Harper. He's the guy in the backfield there. See him there? He left the line come by the linebackers. Look, see, fake like he's blocking. Then he finds a little hole, sneaks right through there, and Richard Todd gives him the ball. Little guys like Harper can do that. You know, they just kind of crouch down. You can't see them. You lose them. Then they sneak through. They kind of snake on through. I like that kind of deal. See that one? How he did it? He just kind of hid. He just kind of hid behind big Marvin Powell. Didn't get enough for a first down, and the Jets are going to have to punt.
He needed about a half yard for the first down. And they sent on Ramsey. There goes Bruce Harper. But he'd never had a knee injury before. He just didn't know how to handle it.
Didn't take him long to handle it. He's only been out 2 weeks since his surgery.
Ramsey back to kick. Johnson and Irvin back deep for the Los Angeles Rams. Score tied 14-14. Off the side of Ramsey's foot. Here comes Irvin. He can be dangerous. He may not be dangerous much longer. He keeps getting hit like that. Kurt Springs was the man who made the hit. 30-yard punt, 8-yard return. Irvin seems to be okay. We have just over 12 minutes, I think, left in the first half. The score is tied 14-14. There's a problem with the scoreboard clock. Don't forget, here on CBS, next Saturday, Pittsburgh against West Virginia, plus other regional action, 12 noon Eastern Time. Beginning with the NCAA today. West Virginia, powerful looking against Boston College.
They may be the new power of the East with Penn State having their problems this year. They'll be number 1 in the East, that West Virginia team.
They might be. 14-14. Rams ball at their own 31. Ferragamo will throw on first down. And as a man, this is Barber, who struggles out of bounds in the arms of Johnny Lynn. About 9 yards.
That's that same type of thing out there. You know, first down, they send everyone deep. Kind of just angle old Barber out there, and everyone runs off with him. Just throw the ball. And he picks up those 8 yards for you to end up 2nd and 2. That's a good situation.
All right, it'll be 2nd and 2, as you said. LaGuardia Airport close by, and we're in the takeoff line right now. Rams have the ball their own 40. 14-14 tie score. Tight end. This is Dickerson. He may have gotten the first down. He got a yard and a half at the most. Joe Klecko, playing left tackle, made the stop.
I'll tell you, Klecko made a nice play on this one. He's a left tackle. We see the linebackers here. They start to step up. Klecko gets off the block, comes right down there. You see him right there making that tackle. He took on Dennis Hara, boom, and then just right down the line. Watch Klecko on Hara here, right on the right side of the screen. See, he takes him on, holds him, plays off him, comes down the line and makes the tackle. Pretty good play. He looks pretty good inside there.
Dickerson got enough for a first down. And Ferragamo will throw on first down. Outside Dickerson with some room. He jukes one, jukes another, gets close to midfield. Johnny Lynn takes him out of bounds. Greg Buttle was the victim of the first juke. The two young bloods over on the Ram bench, not related, but both of them long time in those colors. 2nd and 3 will be the situation as Vince Ferragamo leads the Rams. Robert Alexander is now the Ram running back. That's Hill turning around. This is Alexander. He cuts back. Flag is down. Alexander up close to a first down, but it's probably going to be holding against the Rams. Yes, sir. The Jets, one of the few teams that still play with 4 down linemen. Dallas does, of course, but it's a different type of defense entirely.
Offense, number 60, holding.
Is that Dennis Hara that they got for that one?
Yes.
That's the 2nd time that Hara has been called for holding. John Robinson was telling us last night that Dennis Hara is one of the great cheaters in the game. And he said that as a plus thing. You know, that he has all those little tricks, a little hand here thing and grab it with. He's been caught with those tricks twice today. Big Herky. His nickname's Herky, or Hercules. I was never called Herky.
Hey, move it back, move it against the Rams.
Look at the arms on that guy. He's a jersey. The jersey hardly fits around those arms. That's why he's called Hercules.
Of course, they wear them as tight as they possibly can. That didn't used to be what they did. But now with all the grabbing and pulling and...
But if you get them tight, then you lift weights and they grow. Then you cut off circulation and stuff.
They just keep getting tighter. Ferragamo, straight back. As his man, Mike Barber. Just shy of midfield. Kurt Springs made the stop.
Let's watch Dennis Hara here, the right guard. Now he's working against Joe Klecko. See number 60 there? See, he gets that left hand up there. Klecko grabs him by that right shoulder, starts him by. You see the right hand, push him back in, get the help from that center. See, they know all the tricks. He knows where his help. He has that center inside. Push him into that gap. Good.
Ferragamo, 9 out of 16 as you look at Dennis Hara. Preston Denard in the slot to the left. Still having some problems with the scoreboard clock. And in this case, Ferragamo had some problems with the play call, and so he took a timeout. John Robinson waits for him to come over, and they converse. Score remains 14-14 as this contest has quieted down just a little bit. Pat Summerall, John Madden, Shea Stadium, where the Rams and Jets are all tied up at 14 apiece. Well, the Jets are cleared for landing in Tampa. They may or may not be one of the participants. Kenny Neal jumped and got back. Ferragamo throws down the middle, has a man. Otis Grant has a first down, but a penalty flag was dropped. Kenny Neal jumped offside, then got back.
See Jerry Holmes there, 47. He says, how in the heck did that guy catch the ball? What do I have to do? It was all over him. A heck of a throw by Ferragamo and a catch by Grant, but that's about as good a coverage as you can get. Let's watch it again. Ferragamo, being so big and strong, you can take a push in there on you and still get rid of the ball. Watch, Holmes is right there, but Otis Grant still gets the ball.
One thing about Ferragamo, he will hang in there. He's a very competitive guy.
I like that. What did John Robbins say about him yesterday? He's wired a little different?
Yep.
I like those quarterbacks. They're all wired the same. They all play alike. They're boring.
5 for 5 in the second half. Gilman and Dickerson swap spots in the backfield. Don't play Dickerson. Not much doing. Greg Buttle had it diagnosed perfectly. Dickerson got just a couple.
You know what happened on that play? I think Dickerson went a little too quickly. I mean, he started out too quick. He should have waited. You have to delay it a little. Make them think pass. Let the linebackers get into their drop. I think he hit that draw so quick that Buttle didn't get back. Watch him here. There's supposed to be a draw. You see, and he starts forward so soon that Buttle saw the whole thing.
Buttle never took his eyes off Dickerson. He was watching him from the very beginning. This time, Klecko really encroached.
That's more than encroached. They probably call that one offside.
That was serious.
He's not used to playing in there at that left tackle. And that's the easiest place to watch the ball.
Defense, encroachment, number 73.
That is encroachment. Now watch, the ball's not snapped. On the left-hand side of the screen, there he goes. He has his pass rush move. He's trying not to make contact. If he doesn't make contact, he can still get back. But when he makes contact, then they blow the whistle.
He looks embarrassed about the whole thing. Second down and 3. Rams have the ball at the Jet 37. Dickerson almost caught in the backfield, and now is Marty Ryan made the stop. Number 93, Kenny Neal was the man who made it change direction in the backfield.
That was the guy who made the play. It was Kenny Neal. Anytime that you're running and someone on that side gets penetration on that side, he will usually foul up the play. Kenny Neal got penetration. Dickerson couldn't do anything.
He looks much more comfortable at defensive end.
He said he's an end. He said he doesn't have enough on him to play that tackle position. Enough meat in his bones.
Right. Third down. Yes, as I said before, don't blitz much. Ferragamo quickly will have the first down. George Farmer made that reception. Lance Mel was the man who stopped him.
Of course, they're only 3rd and 3 here. We see Farmer come in from the outside in motion. He goes inside the tight end, and they split the 2 linebackers and hit him for the first down.
Ferragamo got it there so quickly that Mel couldn't get over. George Farmer. Good to see him back in action after the wallop he took in the first half. First down Rams. They move to the Jet 30. Gooman gets the carry. And Mike Gooman, who rarely gets to carry the ball, picks up 8 yards. That's the first time. His wife will be happy about that.
That is rarely. His wife, I guess, in the papers in Los Angeles complained about that. She said, well, he's starting. And she said, yeah, but you never carry the ball. John Robinson said he's going to carry the ball this week. And she said, I'll believe it when I see it. Well, she has to believe it now but they let them run once and they take them out. Enough of that stuff.
David Hill takes his place, and they'll go with the 2 tight ends. 2nd and 3. Newman got 7. Clock running now with just over 7 minutes left to play. Dickerson scrambles down to the 20. Greg Buttle tripped him up again. Well, they felt that they had to stop and contain Dickerson, and in the second half, they've been doing a good job of that.
I think so. One thing, the onside of the Jet defense is forcing them to cut back, and the offside is waiting there for the cutback.
Right at the 20-yard line. The Rams kept the ball a long time and kept that clock running. And again, we have a problem with the scoreboard clock, so we're not sure exactly how much time is remaining. And this is the 12th play of this drive. Ferragamo going. Otis Grant, he had it. It was in the basket at one time and came out. Gary Holmes back there on the coverage. First time Ferragamo hasn't connected in the second half.
That was a pretty good throw, though. I'll tell you, he put that right in there. I don't know that Otis Grant wouldn't have been out of the end zone now. If we watch it again here, he has pretty good pass protection early. Gets a little pressure right there at the end. But I'll tell you, he makes a good throw. Watch that. It's right in there. Hit a shoulder pad. I don't know if he would have been in or out or not.
Now, that particular clock, that one on the official scoreboard, the main scoreboard, is correct. So there's 6:57 left to play in the third quarter. Ferragamo rolls, throws, has a man. Otis Grant out of bounds at the Jet 6. It'll be 1st and goal from there. Rams had a, I guess you'd say, a pass throwing, ball throwing contest yesterday out here in practice. Reggie Dawson and Otis Grant were seeing who could throw the ball the longest way. They were throwing from the sideline up toward the press box. I thought maybe they were seeing if they could hit us or not.
And they almost did, and Otis Grant won the contest. They said he could throw the ball 70 yards. The Ram players were rooting for different guys.
Yeah.
I was kind of for the defensive lineman.
Yeah.
Reggie.
You don't think they can throw it. 1st and goal from the 6. Ferragamo. Incomplete. Intended for Farmer. Was trying to loop around behind Ken Schroy. Ferragamo was a little early.
I think that was probably one of those things where Ferragamo knows he has good position. He doesn't want to force anything down here. He sees that there's nothing there, so I think he just threw that one out of the end zone. Down here, when you get down at that 5-6 yard line, the last thing you want to do is force anything.
It'll be 2nd and goal from the 6. David Hill is lined up as the flanker to the left. Ferragamo is about due for a draw play. Got back to the line of scrimmage.
So much for those new cleats and no more slipping, huh? Yeah, I think that happens, though. Some running backs are made for artificial turf. Dickerson played all his college games. I think he played one on grass, but all the rest were on artificial turf. And a turf will catch and grab more than the grass will. The grass, you tend to slip and slide.
This is good grass here on the section of the field where the Rams are right now, and they take another timeout. Here's Dickerson's shoes underneath all that tape. Ferragamo now takes another timeout, comes over to talk to John Robinson.
I think that can hurt. In a tight game, you can't give up those timeouts that early.
I couldn't agree with you more. It's still 14-14, but the Rams are close. Team now at 4-0 against Minnesota. They're 3-1. And that's where John Madden and I will be next week. I have not done a game in that new stadium.
I haven't either. You know, I've always felt that artificial turf was tough, but being inside and artificial turf in Minnesota just doesn't play right. Although I get to see my old player Dave Casper. He was just traded there this week.
Along with Archie Manning. Third down. Ferragamo by Gastineau. have to wait and see who they penalize. The Rams are right down in field goal range.
This is going to be an interesting one because both teams were out there, both benches empty. I've seen that in a long time.
They were serious about that one.
I wonder if Gastineau was thrown out of the game. It's going to take them a while to sort this one out.
John Robinson pretty calm about things right now. Let's see.
They have a rule against taunting and baiting.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. This way between downs. That's it.
Fred Silva got it said in a very few words, didn't he? Let's go back and look at it again.
Look, this is a fight. Gastineau made a sack on Vince Ferragamo. And he started to celebrate. Everyone started going after Gastineau. Look at them all come. That's the old triple team. There's Jackie Slater who has him down. Excuse me, that was Ken Hill who had him down. They start to come after him, the whole bunch of them.
Now we come back to the live action. Although that was pretty lively. Nelson bangs that field goal through. 34 yards out, and the Rams take the lead. 17-14. Gastineau over on the bench, and we're not sure as yet if he's been thrown out. But as you said, there is a rule about taunting and baiting, and you knew with that dance that he does, it had to happen sooner or later. Well, let's see if we can find out what happened. Of course, what started it was Gastineau's celebration.
Here it is, right here. That's what started. There's Gastineau. And now the guy who blocked him, Jackie Slater, I think is the guy who starts to watch. Here's the sack by Gastineau. Now watch Slater come over. He sees the dance. Look, he starts right now. He starts and he pushes him from behind, and that starts the whole deal.
Rams 17, Jets 14. After the field goal by Nelson. 6:04 left to play third quarter. Nelson doesn't get it. Aims it high. Kurt Springs breaks out of the pack. Springs tripped up by Leroy Irvin. Fumble. Scramble. 28-yard return. Not a good kick by Nelson. The Jets have the ball in good shape. They're at their own 44-yard line. Sellout crowd really excited now after that fracas. 5:53 left to play in the third quarter. This has been a long game.
You know, I'm sure after this game, that fracas started with a score tied. I'm sure somehow it's going to change momentum. And everyone's going to say that's what started it, depending on who wins.
Harper and Crutchfield. The two Jet runners. Hot goes right to work. Fakes, throws up the middle. Crutchfield. 3 yards, maybe 4. Reggie Doss made a quick and good recovery. Mel Owens put the pressure on Todd.
You know what I mean? If the Jets win this game, they'll say Gastineau did it. We needed that. That's what stirred us up. The Rams win, they'll say that got us mad. We were playing, the score was tied, and he did that. We decided we'd go out and bury him. So one way or the other, that guy there is going to be involved in the talk about this game.
He surely will be. Second down, it looks like about 6. In 47, Schuler was the man in motion. Todd under pressure. Todd chased. Todd is down. Reggie Doss. And Reggie does his dance. That's the 4th sack. Reggie just rubbing it in a little bit.
And there's the guy who missed him, Chris Ward. He's upset, but the guy who caused that is George Andrews, number 52, because he's the first guy there. See, we see the pod start to roll here to the left, turn back to the right. Now watch Andrews there. See, he grabs him right there, holds him that much, and then Doss comes up the field, finishes him off.
Meisner out there to help out also. Ward really upset because they got away. 3rd and 14. chases. Ball's up in the air. Incomplete. Another penalty marker down. Youngblood was close. Leroy Irvin deflected it. Right now, it looks like the Rams got a little bit more excited than the Jets did after that.
Well, we have
Really?
stuff going on here, don't we? We got guys dancing, guys getting mad, rushing, scrambling, balls tipping up in the air, officials having meetings. Good stuff. Dirt. Referee Mike
47.
Marconi has a note.
Los Angeles defense holding.
He wrote it down.
77.
Got some more.
New York holding. Offset replay.
There's the first one. Of course, after the receiver goes 5 yards, he can't touch him. The only thing is once that quarterback starts to scramble, that stuff's supposed to be off. That's wrong. Yeah. That shouldn't have been against the Rams. That's wrong because the quarterback started to run. Now he's a runner, and that defender was just playing run defense. No, that was okay. They missed that one.
Once he comes out of that pocket, he becomes a runner.
It's all off, right?
3rd and 14. Here is Richard Todd again. He has time. He finds Scott Durking. But it'll be a 4th down Jets, and now here we go again.
We got another fight out there. Reggie Dawson this one again.
And we got one of the officials down momentarily. He's back up, and Reggie's upset.
See, he made a sack and did his dance, and now maybe they're getting him.
Maybe you don't dance with the one that brought you.
Thank goodness for the punt. Get those guys off the field. Let them cool down. Throw some ice water on them.
Ramsey, the punter, catches a good one. Irvin takes it at his own 10. Leroy Irvin gets out to about the 16-yard line where the Rams will take over. Let's see about the upset.
Let's watch Doss here. Now, he's number 71. We see him going against Chris Ward there. See, it looks like right at the end, he got hit from behind. Whoa, he throws a right, another right. Damn it, Christmas.
As you say, we got a lot of stuff going on out there.
Yeah, guys flipping, throwing right hit.
Very few people get hurt when you hit them with your arm in the helmet.
Not much skin there once they get all padded up.
That's right. Eric Dickerson, the runner. Truman in motion. They get to Dickerson. Dickerson breaks out of the pack. He has a Ram first down. Ken Schroy made the stop. Dickerson spins for 13, 22 carries, 166 yards.
Let's watch his blocking in the middle. See, Kent Hill starts out there with the center, Doug Smith. They get a little push in that middle. Dickerson breaks right back through that hole. Good blocking in the middle there.
Jack Youngblood and Greg Meisner over on the sideline. And Gary Jeter and Reggie Doss. Jeter saying just, hey, settle down a little bit. First down Rams. Their own 37. Ferragamo draw play Dickerson. Not much room. He's wrapped up after a couple by Kenny Neal and Lance Mel.
One of the reasons the draw play isn't working today for the Rams is the fact that Jets defense is so run conscious that they're not rushing the passer. They're staying in their lanes. They're staying at home. They're staying around the line of scrimmage, and a draw play is not effective then. When a draw play is good is when they pass protect, everyone runs up the field out of their lanes, just run right by them.
2nd and 9. Harry Redden in the backfield for the Rams. Hill in motion. Ferragamo to throw. Picked off by Mel. Lance Mel with the interception. Intended for David Hill. The Jets take over in good shape.
If you watch Ferragamo here, maybe he couldn't see Mel because Hill is covered, and he threw the ball right to him. Let's watch it from the end zone here. He's looking to his left to David Hill. Sees him, throws it right there. Mel was right there.
Crutchfield is the lone setback. First down, Jets to pitch back to Crutchfield. Crutchfield comes upfield. 2.5 minutes left to play third quarter. Flag was thrown on the play. Carl Eckern made the stop.
Here's the rush on the play that Ferragamo got hit. Now, it looks like he got rid of the ball. Then Marty Lyons hits him right there. That looked like that could have been called a late hit because the ball was gone.
That was the interception by Lance Mel. Let's see what the penalty might be.
It's one of those holding penalties probably against the Jets.
Well, that's a big one. Let's hear what this is.
72, offense. Unsportsmanlike conduct.
Oh, that goes back to the last series with Reggie Dawson, Chris Ward.
That's Chris Ward, yeah, right. He still hasn't calmed down. They didn't throw any ice water on him. You know, one thing, once you get off those things, you have to forget about it and continue playing the game. And I'm sure Chris Ward knows that as well as anyone.
Eric Harris in the Rams secondary. Mike Harmon on offense for the Jets. Todd Gibbs fakes on the draw play. Goes outside to Mickey Schuler. Schuler with room out of bounds. Back in Ram territory at about their 44. 45 make it. Leroy Irvin.
Watch this matchup. Watch Chris Ward here. He holds off on this side. Watch his. He got him here. Now watch his left hand come up there. Look, he grabs him right around the neck.
He held him twice.
Yeah. You know, the official watches the one that calls the penalty, and then they watch someone else the next play.
So it'll be 2nd and 13. The Jets, the Ram 45. The Rams leading by 3. 2:26 left, third quarter. It has been a long game. Schuler in motion. Hand off Crutchfield. Crutchfield broke one tackle. Got back a few of the yards that they need in their quest for a first down. Johnny Johnson made the stop, and the flag goes down again. Now Richard Todd comes jumping in the middle of things. Rick Silva says, "Get away from me. I got to talk to my guy."
One of the things the official has to see is who threw the first punch. Let's listen.
85, offense. Unsportsmanlike. 47, unsportsmanlike. Between downs.
Well, that's Wesley Walker, Leroy Irvin. That's a wide receiver. Now there's Walker right there, 85. Irvin comes up behind him and pushes him. Walker swings out. He's a wide receiver in the corner getting into it now.
That's from the heavyweight, the real heavyweights, to the lightweight. We had Jerry Cooney up here in the box with us earlier. Maybe we would let it dress him out.
Yeah, he's probably one guy that's really enjoying all this.
It'll be 3rd and 8. Jets at the Ram 45. 13 and Harper. The 2 jet backs. On the throw. On time. Harper has the first down. Todd put it right in there. Leroy Irvin on the stop. 13 yards and enough to move the sticks.
Bruce Harper yesterday didn't expect to play this much. He said, I may get in, give you a few big plays, but only a couple of them. Now with Freeman McGee out, of course, Harper is the big receiving halfback. Watch this pass blocking here now, this pass rushing. Good protection. Todd has time. Sets up.
That's the real secret. Todd is 22 out of 31. First down at the Ram 27. Todd back to throw again. As Crutchfield. And again we have a flag down. Carl Eckern made the stop. Looked like Meisner might have been called for a late hit. Nope. Holding against the Jets.
That would have probably be against the other tackle on this side. It was the official that called it. He moves in and watches holding from the outside.
Offense, number 65, holding.
That was Joe Fields who came out late, and it was right at the end of the play.
Holding on against Meisner, I'm sure, because he was right back there close to it. That's remaining in the third quarter. Jets. Todd back to throw. Going for a bundle. They have a penalty marker down. Wesley Walker has the touchdown. Leroy Irvin on the coverage. It is a touchdown. 37 yards out.
Touchdown again. Wesley Walker, 85, is the outside guy. It was the time that the Jets should go deep again. Todd rolls a little. See, Walker comes up under control a little. Here he gets a little push in there against Irvin. The ball's thrown right over his head. Irvin misjudges it. Walker doesn't, and it's a touchdown.
Wesley Walker. 7-year pro is a dangerous, dangerous receiver. Joe Walton in conversation with one of the officials. Richard Todd, who fired the touchdown pass, 42 yards, 4 plays. Robinson, John. Todd, 23 out of 32, 289 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Leahy comes out. Things are happening right now. That's the scoring drive, and Todd hits Walker with his second touchdown pass of the day. Way set to kick off. Back deep for the Rams. Barry Redden is number 30. Just about where home plate would be if this were a Met game instead of a Jet game. He looks. He bombs it pretty well. They juggle around in the end zone. That was Robert Alexander who let it bounce, and the Rams will start from their own 30. The score is 21-17 here. The Jets with the lead. They just took it. San Francisco 24, Atlanta 20. The Falcons coming back strongly. The Raiders 20, Denver nothing. All those Raiders are tough. Plunkett just hit Cliff Branch with a touchdown pass. San Diego 24, Cleveland 21, Washington 27, Seattle 17. Zorn just hit Largent again. The Redskins are not going to give up that throne very easily. First down from the 20 for the Rams. Ferragamo, the quarterback. Dickerson, the runner. They give to Eric Dickerson. He barrels straight ahead for about 3. That Jet defense has come to life, led by that man, Lance Mel, whose interception gave him the field position that they took advantage of to go ahead.
I think the Jets defense is playing well now. You know that they got off to a little shaky start. Of course, Dickerson getting that big run, but in the second half they started to settle down, and again they're playing a solid defense.
Just over 30 seconds left in the third quarter. 2nd and 7. He gets a rest as Redden comes in Dickerson's place. Eric Dickerson, first quarter, 6 times 104. Second quarter, 8 for 40. Third quarter, the Jet defense has risen to the occasion. They hurt his average. Third down. Looks like about 4. That's about right. Ferragamo. Shea Stadium crowd comes to their feet. Raw play, Redden, and Kenny Neal is right there. Rams will have to punt.
Let's watch this. Kenny Neal comes from the outside. You see he's folding in. He was on a pass rush stunt. Lyons was going out. Neal was coming in, and it brought him right into the draw play. That was a great defensive call for that situation.
That's the end of the third quarter with the score. Jets 21, the Rams 17. We now pause for a word from your local station. San Francisco beat Atlanta 24-20, a revitalized 49ers. Right now we're at Shea Stadium in New York. Pat Summerall and John Madden, the Rams trailing the Jets 21-17, and they have to punt. John Misko, their punter in the game. It's been a tight game from the very beginning, and there have been a lot of fisticuffs. We're not through yet. Another quarter to go. Misko back to punt. Mike Harmon back deep. This time hangs on. The Rams are down in good coverage. So the Jets will take over. Ball is at the Jet 28-yard line. 1 more quarter to go. 44-yard kick by Misko. An exciting second half. Richard Todd. Freeman McNeil is out of the game with a separated shoulder. He'll be gone for at least 6 weeks. Bruce Harper, the receiver. He might have gotten a yard. Carl Eckern made the hit. 21-17. Rams lead the Jets at Shea Stadium. Those of you who watched the Redskins win their third and beat Seattle 27-17, welcome to Shea Stadium in New York. Pat Summerall, John Madden. The score here is the New York Jets 21, the Rams 17. Full quarter of football left to play. Second down and 7 for the Jets. The pitch is back to Bruce Harper, who's taken Freeman McNeil's place. He might have gotten a yard. Mel Owens led the Ram defense.
Sure, that was one of the things that Bruce Harper didn't intend to do today. First of all, I don't think he intended to play much, and then when Freeman McNeil got injured, Harper's been in there more and more. Just had knee surgery 2 weeks ago, and he thought if he was going to play, it would be on a pass play here and there, sneak him in. And now he's playing all the time, running, blocking, doing all those things.
3rd and 6. And the Rams go with 4 down linemen now to put some heat on the passer. Gary Jeter on the scene, and here comes the Rams. There goes the Jets. Jerome Barkham as Richard Todd felt the pressure but hung in there. Got the ball to Barkham.
I'll tell you, that was a heck of a throw by Todd because he was not only under pressure by Gary Jeter, I'll tell you, he really zipped that ball in there. Watch the rush here. Here's Jeter, 77. Watch him. He'll come right up the middle, and just as Todd is throwing the ball, Jeter unloads on him. Now watch the throw that he makes under this thing. The pressure, look at that. It's zipped right between 2 Ram guys.
Todd is 25 out of 34 for 313 yards. This is Dwayne Crutchfield fighting for yardage and getting about 8. Leroy Irvin made the stop. Crutchfield. Richard Todd has had an outstanding day. John Johnson, I should say, was telling us yesterday that he felt that, particularly in the fourth quarter, his defense had played so well that they felt they could play with anybody. They've got a chance. 2nd and 3. Todd outside to Harper. Chased and caught by Youngblood. He got the arm out and on. Not enough.
You know, you're just talking about, Pat, that had been a big thing for the Rams because in the past few years they were getting lead, then they'd get beaten in the second half in the fourth quarter. He felt that recently, in the last few weeks, they've been able to get down and then come from behind. They played dominant defense in the fourth quarter, he said.
3rd and 3 at the 38 as Lamb Jones comes in with a play from Joe Walton. That's how he gets him in. Wesley Walker goes wide to the right. Jones lines up as the flanker to the left, and now he comes wide left. Scott Durkin and Harper, the 2 running backs. On 3rd down, Todd throws. Walker, yes sir. That'll be enough for the 1st down. Yes, it is a catch. 10-yard gain.
Watch this. We'll see why he gets this out. Here's Wesley Walker. Now, Eric Harris was playing on him, but he's been going deep all day. Now, watch Harris's reaction. He sees him. He's turning and running deep, and then Walker just cuts it out and makes an out pattern out of it. That's the way you run it out. Tell him that you're going deep, and then cut to the end of the out.
So it's 1st down, Jets in field goal range almost. There's the Ram 28, and Todd will throw on 1st down, standing in the pocket, throws down the middle, wide open. Derek Gaffney. It'll be 1st and goal. Jets know about the Ram 7. Nolan Cromwell made the stop.
Now, this is the Jet team that you remember from last year. You know, going deep, big play. That time he tried to get deep to Wesley Walker. He wasn't there, so he threw into the middle to Derek Gaffney.
Jones comes in with the play. Gives it to Todd. Taking long to get it to Todd. Took Walton a lot longer to get it to him. 1st and goal from the 9. 1:05 left to play. Jets trying for more. Handoff. Crutchfield. Flag goes down. Leroy Irvin made the stop. Penalty marker went down early.
Looks like it's going against the Jets. A holding penalty. Hey, the Jets have seemed to be penalized a lot today on drives, but they keep coming back after the penalties.
They seem to get the penalties in clutch situations. This happened earlier when they were down here, and Todd came right back with a touchdown pass to Walker. From the 19, they'll operate the next time.
Offense, number 72, holding.
Chris Ward.
Chris Ward's been in the league for 6 years now. He's really always had a problem with penalties. I remember his first couple years, it seemed like he'd get 2 or 3 every game.
It'll be 1st and goal from the 19. Less than 10 minutes now left to play. Rams on a blitz. Todd going for the corner to Gaffney. The pressure was such that he had to get rid of it before he was quite ready. Johnny Johnson back there with Gaffney.
But you see Todd's first reaction was like he went the wrong way, and I said, no, I can't say anything to him. One of the things that could haunt the Rams is that they only have 1 timeout left. And we see it right here. They've used 2 up, and in a tight ball game, oh God, that's like a missed extra point.
Johnny Hector comes in, and he and Crutchfield will line up behind Todd. It's 2nd and goal from the 19. And now Todd, unsure of what Joe Walton wants. Walton is really upset. Takes a timeout. Not sure who Joe's mad at, but I'm sure it's somebody. 21-17, the Jets lead the Rams.
Here's what caused that timeout. We see 45 Crutchfield coming in. He says something to Hector. Hector starts to go out. Todd starts to count the guys and say, heck, I don't have any play I can run. I got to take time. Watch the center, though, Joe Field. What discipline. He just stays right there already. They're already. They bring their lunch bucket. They're just hanging there. They don't care what goes on behind them.
You mentioned earlier, Joe Fields is one of the very best. Every time we've seen him, he's done nothing but outstanding work. Second down and goal from the 19. Todd steps up into the pocket, throws. Ball is almost picked off by Leroy Irvin. Intended for Derek Gaffney. Todd had some room to roam himself.
I'll tell you, Irvin had some room to roam. And he had caught that ball. If he had intercepted that ball, it would have been a touchdown. As you say, though, Todd could have gained a lot of yardage on this play. Watch here. He throws it out there. Now watch that. Irvin caught that ball. Could have come right up the sideline. There would have been no one there.
Gone.
Oh.
Don't forget following football, except on the West Coast. The all-new 60 Minutes. And Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, and Peter Jennings all will be on 60 Minutes tonight. They'll come up following football.
They have to wait a little while, won't they?
Yeah, I think they might. We've still got 9:47 left to play. Here's Harper. Bruce Harper taken down by Vince Newsom, number 22. And here comes Leahy. Jets will go for the field goal. Leahy had back spasms last week. The Jets played New England. They really just couldn't perform. Said yesterday he's okay.
Well, they were trying out kickers this week because they didn't know if he'd be ready by today. But on Friday, he was okay, so they got rid of all the other kickers. Leahy's doing the kick.
I asked him yesterday how he got hurt, how his back got hurt. It's a spasm. I said, I thought maybe you got hit. Joe Fields was standing there, and he said, how would he get hit? Block! Rams pick it up. Ivory Sully. The Rams are still going. Leahy's kick was blocked, and the Rams get that to their advantage. The Jets scored a touchdown that way.
I'll tell you, see where it came from the left side there, the left side of the Jets. No one blocked the outside guy. Now watch, here's a one-handed lateral. He gets the ball, gains about 5 more yards.
That's Johnny Johnson who winds up with it, but Sully who blocked it.
The guy who blocked that was Ivory Sully. He's right here. The second guy in comes right in here and blocks it right there. Watch it. The outside guy doesn't get there. See the two guys? Watch. Sully's the inside. The outside guy comes around. Now watch. Right now, here comes Sully. See him right there? Blocks it right there. That could end up being a big play in this game.
Certainly could.
A lot of big plays.
21-17. Jets over the Rams. Rams have the ball at midfield. That's the time remaining. 60 Minutes will come up immediately following football. Up on the West Coast where you'll see that regular time. Here's Ferragamo outside. Caught by Barber. Just a couple of yards. Not much more. Maybe 3. Ken Schroy knocked him out of bounds. Both teams have fooled around a little too much with their timeouts. So you saw the timeout situation. The Rams have 1. The Jets have 2. The score, the Rams trailing the Jets 21-17. It'll be 2nd and 7. By the way, 60 Minutes will feature Peter Jennings, Tom Brokaw, and Dan Rather. Everybody's anchorman. Koeman was the man in motion. Ferragamo going to work. Good time throws deep. Darrell Ray makes the interception. Darrell Ray still on his feet. Darrell Ray brings it almost back to midfield where the Jets will take over. Otis Grant was the intended receiver.
That was what Joe Walt was telling us yesterday. Darrell Ray is their big play guy on defense, and he hadn't made any big plays. He still is here. Now watch this post. You can't run a post pattern, see the inside pattern, when the weak safety is sitting there. You have to have something that takes the safety out of the middle. Darrell Ray, the weak safety, is just playing center field. He's free, and you can't throw the ball into that. It's can't throw a post in there.
Darrell Ray's interception gives the ball back to the Jets, close to midfield.
Okay, now watch this. Here's Darrell Ray. He's the free safety. And to run a post in here, you have to do something to occupy him because he's free. Now watch what happens. Otis Grant runs into the post here. Now watch Darrell Ray. There's nothing to take him off. He's just going back there to the middle. He's just deep. See right there. See, here he is here. There's nothing to occupy him, so he makes the interception.
It is a bit unwise to throw something in there like that if you don't occupy that guy. There's Crutchfield, and a flag is down. George Andrews made the stop. Let's see what the penalty is, and remind you that tonight's schedule on CBS against the Rams includes 60 minutes when football is over, except on the West Coast. Alice, one day at a time, the Jeffersons, Goodnight Beantown, and Trapper John MD, all coming up after football.
Number 58.
Rams have been penalized 7 times. The Jets have been penalized 9 times. It'll be 1st and 5. The ball at the 47-yard line of the Rams. Todd drops the throw. Going for more. As Walker. Wesley Walker. Johnny Johnson, the nearest Ram defender. 18-yard gain and a 1st down Jets.
I think Wesley Walker has this deep defense again. So worried about his going deep. See that he's driving that deep guy off. See Johnny Johnson, number 20, he's waiting and waiting and waiting, and Walker gets in front of him. Now the Jet line, I think they're one of the best offensive line in football, and they're really doing a job of pass protection. Look at this thing, how they just hold up, knock everything in the middle. Hurt, good stuff.
And they keep the clock running with 7:40 left to play. Todd has Crutchfield behind him. Doing the work for Moore one more time. Outside Crutchfield. And read it well. Carl Eckern wrapped him up at about the 25. Just exactly on the 25, as a matter of fact. That was the best day Richard Todd ever had, and that's a pretty good day right there. 42 out of 60. And here is today, 29 out of 39. 364 yards.
The big thing is the way he's setting up today. Last week he wasn't doing that. Joe Walt said they worked all week on his set, and you can sure see the difference today.
2nd and 7. He gives to Crutchfield. Crutchfield hurdles over one blocker and uses that bulk and strength and ability to get a 1st down for the Jets. Very near. They have a lot of high hopes for Dwayne Crutchfield. They think he has the potential and the possibility to be a real star.
Say he still has a few of the little things like his points, where he goes to a hole, his footwork in getting there and hitting the hole instead of just a little off, and it's going to take time. But when he gets it and puts it all together, he's going to be some fullback.
He's just 23 years old, 6 feet tall, 232 pounds from Iowa State.
Of course, 232 pounds is being nice to him. I think he's been up around that 250 mark a few times.
And that's one of the returns.
Right, he gives those Toledos a pretty good tip.
So it's Crutchfield and Harper. The Raiders lead Denver 20-7 now. Take the end around. They have Wesley Walker inside the 10 to about the 7. It will be 1st and goal from there is Mel Owens.
I'll tell you, that's a mismatch when you get Mel Owens out there. Watch this, it's a fake run, fake reverse, and then the old play pass out there. And it was Mel Owens was man-to-man out there on Bruce Harper. That's kind of a mismatch after all that fake. Fake a run, fake a reverse, fake a pass, and finally get it out there.
I thought it was Walker, but it was Harper. You're right. Jets 1st and goal out to 4. Nolan Cromwell came up to make the initial contact. 5.5 minutes left to play. The Jets are doing what they wanted to do. Keep the ball. Keep it on the ground. Run out the clock.
They're trying to run a sweep, but the thing that stops it is Cromwell. Watch, he'll come right up here from the outside. No blocker on him. He just makes the tackle. Now, you know what? They scored 21-17. This is a big drive, I think, for the Jets, because if they have to settle for a field goal, a touchdown can tie them. If they get a touchdown, then the Rams need 2 scores.
They're at the 5. Second down. Odd rollout. Scott Durking was the intended receiver. Nolan Cromwell was closer than any other Ram to him. That ball fluttered just a little bit. It might have slipped out of Todd's hand.
This is a big call for Joe Walton. Big down. Because you hear, when you're ahead again by 4, you don't want to have to settle for 3. Now, conversely, on the Rams side, it's a big defensive play for them.
A big play. None Robinson has made many changes, but not wholesale changes in this Ram team. Jets take a timeout. Unhappy with the defense he saw or with the offensive set he had. And he goes over to talk to Joe Walton. They both have just 1 timeout remaining now. And the Jets, with 3rd and goal from the 5, lead by 4, 21-17. Time of possession in this quarter, Jets have had the ball 9 minutes and 43 seconds. The Rams have had the ball 27 seconds. Both teams down with 1 timeout remaining. 3rd and goal from the 5. Showing blitz. Todd looks. Ooh, almost. Lamb Jones was the intended receiver. Todd got it over the defender, Nolan Cromwell, but they didn't quite connect, and here comes Leahy. Ram defense equal to that occasion, although the Jets one more time did eat up a lot of the clock. They lead 21-17. The last attempt by Leahy was blocked. The Rams very nearly turned that one into a touchdown. This will be from 22 yards out for Pat Leahy. This one is straight on and good. 24-17. Robinson proud of his defense at this point, I'm sure. 24-17, the Jets take a 7-point lead. And look at this. Hard to score if you don't have the apple, isn't it? Pigskin. 24-17 the score here. Leahy kicks off. Lines it in the direction of Robert Alexander. Alexander up the sideline. Alexander still going out of bounds. Out of bounds at about the 30.
Hey, if this had been a Canadian field and it was a little wider, I think Alexander may have had something up here. Watch it, because he gets to the outside. They miss a tackle right there. See, and he regains his balance, but he stepped on the line there. Had that been 55 yards wide, this field, he may still be going.
He might be going into overtime ourselves. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Rams at their own 31. 4.5 minutes left to play. The Rams and Jets down to 1 timeout each. Barber, 8. Bob Trable made the stop. He's playing in place of Woodring.
Let's watch Mike Barber here, number 86 at tight end. We'll see how he gets open. He's going to run a hook. He's just finding some stuff in there around the linebackers. Just hook, turn around, and up comes Ken Schroy to make the tackle. You know, the Rams haven't thrown to their outside receivers much, and the Jet defense is tightening inside on their pass defense. I think the Rams have to widen out and get them spread out again.
Less than 4 minutes left to play now. David Hill goes in motion. Aragama goes back to throw again. He's going for a
Johnny Lynn is in good position now. I tell you, see, he's running stride for stride. He sees the ball. Again, they're both going for it. Lynn really had it. Looks like Farmer did go out and then come back in. It looked like his right foot may have stepped on the line there, so it would have been illegal anyway, unless Lynn tipped it.
It'll be 3rd and 2. Big play. Horace Grant, George Farmer, the wide receivers. They give to Dickerson. He is close to a first down. Troy really made a good tackle and knocked Dickerson backwards. He is very near first down.
Well, the Rams will have to go for it anyway. I think it is a first down because Eric Dickerson really finishes off a run. Ken Troy makes a good tackle, but watch out right there. See, he just gets down, and just that little lunge is enough to get the first down for the Rams.
Dickerson now 25 carries, 173 yards. The Raiders score is final. And they are unbeaten along with Dallas. Those are the only two. 22-7. They beat Denver. Hill again swings in motion. Hill is with Barber. Barber is taken to the ground by Lance Mill. Mike Barber, tight end, has had a busy day. 7 catches for 50 yards for Mike Barber. Clock continues to run. 2:39 left to play. 1 timeout left for both teams, and Hill comes out. 2nd and 3. The excitement started early, but Eric Dickerson went 85 yards for a touchdown early. Rams' first possession. Ferragamo. Farmer. Deep in Jet territory. These Rams aren't gone and not finished yet. They're at the Jet 30. Darrell Ray stopped him.
I think the Rams will probably take the 2-minute warning here as we watch George Farmer. Now, this is what the Rams had to do. They had to start getting the ball again to their wide receiver. Farmer comes in. Johnny Lynn is off. Comes in, squares it off, gets a big first down. In this situation, all first downs are big, aren't they?
You have to give George Farmer a lot of credit because crossing over in the middle in the first half, he really took a wallop. And that one was over the middle, too. Pat Summerall and John Madden at Shea Stadium in New York. The Jets 24, the Rams 17. It's been close from the very beginning. Eric Dickerson started the fireworks with an 85-yard run. First time the Rams had the ball, the second longest in Ram history. Jets came back. The Rams went back ahead 14-7. The Jets came back. John Robinson, their new head coach. 2 minutes to go. Rams down to 1 timeout. Farmer split out wide to the right. Otis Grant to the left. Ferragamo, the quarterback. Ferragamo has a receiver. That's Barber. Barber is hit at the 25. Banged in the head. He didn't get a first down, but he got about 7 yards.
See, Barber, he started going backwards like he was going to get hit. There was no one there, so he just fell down.
He didn't mean to. 2nd and 3. 8 catches now for Barber.
I don't think time is important right now. The Rams really have time. With 1 timeout, they have plenty of time.
Clock running at 1:20, even 1:20 left to play. Ferragamo, David Hill, and a flag goes down, and that could be a very crucial penalty. Bob Crable was the nearest Jet. Let's see who the penalty's against. Must be against Jackie Slater. He's really upset.
I'm sure it is. When that guy throws the flag from the side, it's usually against the tackle on that side. That's Jackie Slater.
Interesting. I guess you got to take this penalty, don't you?
You sure do. Because, see, they would have been 3rd and 4.
Holding. Number 78.
Let's see if here's Jackie Slater. He's 78 on Mark Gastineau. Looks like he's okay there. Oh, it's his left hand. You see that? He just pulled his jersey right over his shoulder pad.
Other than ours, everything else is over. And Cleveland beats San Diego 30-24. Following us, following football, following this game, 60 Minutes comes along. minutes tonight. Ferragamo standing. Pass intended for Mike Gooman. Didn't quite hang on, so it's third down.
Now the Rams put themselves in a position where third down, field goal does them no good. They have to score a touchdown. But by throwing that one that deep, that means that they have to throw the next two the same depth.
They need 13 to get that first down.
Right. Had they thrown shorter, like 7 or 8, then they could throw for 7 or 8 2 more times.
A lot of things have to happen. Farmer comes wide right. Otis Grant and Gooman to the left. Dickerson the lone setback. Ferragamo goes. Farmer has it. George Farmer still on his feet. He has that first down. A minute left to play. 17-yard game. Good throw by Ferragamo.
The Rams are going without a huddle. You have to be impressed with that. Let's watch the play again. You have to be impressed. They had to go up there. They had to get up 15 yards. Farmer gets it. Makes the catch for the first down.
They snapped the ball. I'm not sure the Jets got back on side. Ferragamo was just trying to stop the clock. Joe Klecko, I'm not sure if he got back in time. The clock is stopped with 44 seconds left to play, and the Jets didn't get back.
Let's watch the throw of Vince Ferragamo here on that big play. There's the pressure on him. Here comes Gastineau. Klecko up the middle. He steps in there. I'll tell you, that was some throw under pretty good pressure.
Klecko was all over.
Defense, number 73.
Klecko didn't get back in time, and they walk off 5-4 against the Jets, and the Rams are at the door.
See, the problem is they use those 2 timeouts, and they're going to hurt them. There's only 44 seconds, so they can't run. That means that they have to pass.
Ball is at the 9-yard line, first and goal.
Although with 44 seconds, I wouldn't be surprised if they did try one run in there. Maybe a draw play. We've done that before.
Let me go back and reset that for you. It's first and 5. The ball is at the 9. But after the penalty, it's first and 5, not first and goal. Pitches back to Dickerson. Eric Dickerson to about the 2. That'll be a first down. They'll move the sticks, and Robinson uses his last timeout.
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because when you run, if you don't make it, you have to use that timeout. Now with 36 seconds, it's tough to be able to run again unless you score. So you see, that did give them a first down.
Yep.
It's a tough situation.
Ferragamo over with Robinson. Dickerson now 26 carries for 180 yards. You look at the people responsible for this broadcast. Bob Stenner's our producer. Sandy Grossman, our director. They always do so well. So does Joan Vachano, John Fumo, John McCrae, everybody involved. Makes it a very happy Sunday afternoon for us.
I hope they're ready for an overtime down there.
I hope so. First and goal now. The ball is at the 2. 36 seconds left to play in the game. It's the Jets 24, the Rams 17, and we're looking at overtime.
What the Rams could do, if they wanted to call a run, have the timeout here, they could call 2 plays. One, the run. If it doesn't work, line up on the line of scrimmage, throw something quick to stop the clock. Or they could just decide on 3 or 4 passes. I remember once in this situation I had George Bland, and I was saying, let's run this 16 Bob Fraione. He said, okay, coach. He said, but if you let me throw 3 slant passes to Warren Wells, I'll guarantee a touchdown.
So what did you do?
Guarantee? I said, you guarantee it, you got it. First one incomplete, second one touchdown, we win the game.
Well, now it's Vince Ferragamo instead of George Blanda. 60 minutes coming up following football, except on the West Coast, where you'll see it at its regular time. And Rather, Brokaw, and Jennings all featured in tonight's all-new 60 Minutes. There will be a wrap-up show with Brent Musburger following our game to bring you up to date on what happened in the NFL today. Right now, this is the only happening in the NFL today. It's the only game still in progress. All the other lights are out on the school so simple.
Well, that long time to talk about it.
Yeah. Now, here's where the kicker makes his money.
Watch Gooman here. He comes in motion. Ferragamo straight back, sees him open. Boom, just gives it right out there to Gooman. No one covered him. He fooled the Jet defense. This is a big, big kick for a rookie kicker, isn't it?
It certainly is. Gooman's wife should be happy. Yep. Nelson with Nolan Cromwell holding. Nelson, the best in the nation last year as a collegian. We will go into overtime, barring an unforeseen something. 24-24 tie.
Let's see if we can see what happened on that last touchdown. Gooman starts here. Now he's going to go in motion here and right out into the flat. No one on the Jets picked him up. Now watch it. He starts here. He starts across in motion. See the defense? No one moved. No one adjusts. The ball snapped, and here he is. He's out there all by himself. Look. Boom. Touchdown. That's an easy one. No one ever did pay any attention to it.
Carried the ball once, made 7 yards, good average. Caught a touchdown pass and put the game in overtime after the extra point. Good day, Mike.
Well, the only one that pays any attention is his wife. She says, why doesn't he ever get to carry the ball? Robin said he will. She said, yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. And he did one time today.
So here is the situation. One more time, 32 seconds left to play. The Jets still have one timeout. The Rams used all of theirs. Of course, if we do go into overtime, it's just like we start another ball game. Take a 3-minute break, and then we'll get at it again. We've had 85-yard touchdown runs. We've had blocked field goals returned for a touchdown. We had 2 touchdown passes caught by Wesley Walker. We've had fights. And
Brawls. I think a fight is when 2 guys fight. I think when you get, what do they have in these teams? 49 guys and 49?
Yep.
So you get 98 guys out, that's a brawl.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah. 2 guys fight, 98 brawl.
That might even qualify as being a war. Nelson kicks it off the side of his foot. Johnny Hector will try to return it. Hector struggling, looking for yardage. Gets out to about the 26-7, maybe. Let's check out the Rams special teams. This guy used to be a basketball player.
There's James McDonald. He was a basketball player at SC. He never played football. It was the first time. And he's learning what the NFL's all about, isn't he, on those special teams coverage?
That's a tough pick.
Where'd that guy come from?
Now down to 26 seconds left to play. Jets with one timeout. Rams think they're going to be content, I think, to set it into overtime. That's what it looks like they'll do. That's not a very popular decision with the fans. They're ready to go home. This is the 3rd overtime game today, assuming something mind-boggling doesn't happen. Down to 3. This is the 8th overtime game this year, and the record is 13, which was set back in 1980. 24-24. The fans not happy with Joe Walton's decision to put it into overtime. Now we'll have a coin toss, and then they'll take a 3-minute break. Here's Captain Joe Klecko coming out. Joe, a long day for him.
Joe looks like he's already played 2 and getting ready for his 3rd.
Yeah. He said we've got to stop being cute. We have to get back to playing like we used to play.
He says we're strutting around too much.
Yeah.
We don't have any reason to strut.
Jack Youngblood and Dennis Hara. They're not talking about heads or tails. John Robinson, Jackie Slater.
The Rams' record in overtime is 3-1-1.
I mean, overtime. They didn't finish it in overtime.
Who's going to call it?
Well, they just kept playing. You know, you get 15 minutes.
Ed, you got it? Take the ball. All right.
Jets won the toss. Jets will get the ball. Headed into overtime. Each team, by the way, will have 2 timeouts. If it's still tied at the end of this first overtime period, that'll be it. We'll settle for a tie. Of course, nobody likes it.
That's what I was saying before, that the Rams are 3-1-1 in overtimes, and the Jets are 2-3-1 in overtime. And of course, the game can still end in a tie if they play 15 minutes and no one scores.
Nelson, who just added that critical extra point to tie it up, will kick off. Johnny Hector, Kirk Springs back deep for the Jets. Nelson will kick off. I got a feeling that there's going to be a turnover or some sort of a break that's going to settle this one right quick.
Well, it's been that type of game. You know, it hasn't been one. It's just been your standard old deal.
There's Nelson to kick. Lines it in the direction of Hector. Bounces off his hands. Now he's got it at the 2. Now he comes to the outside. Now he's still on his feet. Now he is knocked out of bounds by Howard Carson.
I'll tell you, that was some kind of hit there. Well, now the Jets get the ball back. It's interesting, you know, that they decided to take this game in overtime, and I was a little surprised that just before the regular time ran out that they didn't take a shot or two, you know, throw something up and, you know, try and make something happen, but they decided not to. They decided they'd just wait for overtime and they get the ball.
Let's go to overtime and we regroup. And they won the toss, and so that's why they have the ball. Todd goes to work. Under pressure for Youngblood. Chased by Gary Jeter. Pass complete. Wesley Walker. Walker ducks under a couple of tacklers and gets the first down.
I'll tell you, Richard Todd made that play because he made a good scramble here. We'll watch Wesley Walker and his pattern. Again, he has that defense so conscious of going in and out and everything that they don't even know where he is half the time. He started, he ran a hook, maybe a little push off there, and he made an out of it.
That is reception number 8 for Walker, and that ties his career best. He is dangerous.
I bet you before this thing's over, they'll go deep behind a couple more times.
Picked up 135 yards, caught 2 touchdown passes. Todd under pressure again. Myers, penalty marker down. Liam Jones, the intended receiver. That's going to be holding, I'm sure.
I saw that one. That's on the left tackle, Chris Ward. He just did a takedown on that one. He did. I mean, he just grabbed the guy, pulled his jersey and the whole thing. I don't know if that was Reggie Doss or not. We'll see it here. Watch this takedown. It's going to be the left tackle from the left side of the screen. Right there. Now watch him here. See the takedown? He just had a whole picture of holding.
That is exactly right, John. 9 of the 11 penalties against the Jets have been for holding. That's the situation. 11 for 93 yards against the Jets, 8 for 55. That's the kind of game it's been, too. And there were a couple that were offsetting. First down. Back to throw. Gets it outside on the 6th screen. This is Wayne Crutchfield. Got 6. Johnny Johnson and Nolan Cromwell get him out of bounds. Boy, it's a long flight back to Los Angeles. I would imagine a guy like Jack Youngblood, who's been out there all day long and has been at it for 13 years, might have a nap.
Long flight after a long day's work. You know, with a deal like this, they don't even get a lunch break. Usually when you work 5-6 hours, they give you lunch in here. Right. Someplace.
Well, you haven't had any break yet.
Yeah, I had a lunch break at halftime. Ate a hot dog. A little mustard on it.
A lot better with mustard. Ball's at the 22nd. 27, second and 14. Todd has to scramble. Does scramble. One more time, that yellow flag comes up. Jack Youngblood was being held, I think, by Marvin Powell. But let's see.
I'll tell you who made a great play as a nose tackle, Greg Meisner. He's the guy that's responsible scramble for this quarterback. Now watch him. He's in the middle there. You see, he lines over the center. Now watch, he goes into field. Now he has any draw, any screen, any quarterback scramble. Just keep the quarterback in front of you. See, now Todd starts to scramble here. Watch Meisner. He sees it, he knows it's his responsibility, and that's a heck of a tackle for a big guy.
Walk it off.
Offense, number 79, holding.
Second and 24 now.
I was just going to say, the referee, Fred Silva, looks like he's called so many holding penalties today, he's bored with it.
Got calluses on his wrist.
Oh, that's another one. Another holding there.
From the 24, from the 17, they need 24. Down the middle. That's Jerome Barkham, the tight end. Hold everything. George Andrews is there quickly, and Todd is slow to get up. And now tries to shake it off.
Looks like Todd hurt his left knee on that play.
See what happened.
Again, it's a screen pass, and they have to let the inside go. Now watch what happens. He has to hold the ball. Now look, right as he throws, Gary Jeter came in and hit him right on the left knee as that knee was planted.
Pellegrini has played in place of Stan Waldemore since early in the game. That's who Jeter's working against. Here's Todd down the middle, and one more time that yellow flag comes out of an official's pocket. Jerome Barkham made the catch.
It's going to be another holding against the Jets. I'll tell you, this has to be some kind of league record for holding.
I would think so.
Let's see if we can find it in here. It looks like the right guard had his hand outside.
79, holding with you.
Right there was Marvin Powell. You see him on Youngblood? He had his left hand around his back.
Jack Youngblood likes to play in New York. He had a great game the opening Sunday against the Giants. Got the game ball. And he's had a good day today, too.
Gordon King, his giant right tackle. Never forget that one.
No.
He has a set arms on him, Big Jack.
Chuck Ramsey punted 4 times. The long has been 43. Leroy Irvin back for the Rams, and that's a good kick. Ram defense did its job. Irvin. And here's another penalty marker down. 46-yard punt, 6-yard return. Stan Blinka was the man down to make the stop. Don't forget, 60 minutes coming up. The all-new 60 minutes. Following football, except on the West Coast, where you'll see it at its regular time, although that depends on the length of this game. Dan Rather, Tom Brokaw, and Peter Jennings all featured tonight on the all-new 60 minutes. This one is against the Rams. New York time.
On the run back, number 98, rocking below the weight, half the distance to the goal.
The 98 is Mark Giroux, who's an ex-Jet.
Watch it. The right part of the screen here. Watch him. He comes in right here, and he blocks down below the waist, just as the Jet defender was going in to make the tackle. The guy was going in to make the tackle, and Giroux just went right down with him.
Rams 24, Jets 24. Pat Summerall, John Madden at Chase Stadium in New York. In overtime, the third overtime game of the day. Here's Eric Dickerson to the outside. Dickerson breaks a tackle and swings up the sideline. Gets near a Ram first down. He doesn't look like he's tired. John Woodring nudged him out of bounds.
Every time he gets his hands on the ball, you just get that feeling of electricity. You don't know what he's going to do with it or where he's going. Look at that, 191 yards already. That's a full day's work.
I'll say one of them an 85-yard touchdown run. Eric Dickerson, the Rams' #1 draft choice, the second player taken in the draft this year. He got close to a first down. They'll stop the clock and he'll measure.
I'll tell you, John Robinson has done an outstanding job with this Ram team. I mean, here they are. They're playing the Jets, who were in the championship last year, and they're playing a tie game in overtime. One thing about this Ram team this year, they're excited. You know, they may not win all their games or whatever, but they're always going to give you an exciting football game.
What a delightful guy he is.
He sure is. Of course, he and I grew up in Daly City, California. We were friends. We were more like brothers. He's never changed. He's the same guy he used to be on Mission Boulevard up at the pool hall.
First and 10 from the 23. Ferragamo back to throw. Pass incomplete. Intended for Mike Barber, who's had a busy afternoon. Ferragamo had to really unload the bullet then. Let me say one thing about Ferragamo. All the coaches will tell you that he has so much confidence in his ability, and he's so competitive that sometimes maybe they think he's too competitive.
Well, yeah, well, how about that big fight that they had out there today? Vince Ferragamo was right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Most quarterbacks go over and get a drink out of the old water bucket or something when a fight starts. He was right in the middle.
He jumped on somebody. That's not too smart. No. There he is to throw. David Hill. Hill gets out to short of a first down by about 3 or 4 yards. Gets out to about the 30. Lance Mel made the tackle. Greg Buttle helped him out. It'll be third down now and about 3. Say that, getting back to the subject of Ferragamo, that he just has so much confidence in his arm that he sometimes tries to put the ball in the places that he shouldn't. And that's why he gets intercepted. But it doesn't bother his confidence. Jets fake blitz. Ferragamo gets it out to Eric Dickerson. He's got some room, and Dickerson cuts out of bounds in Jet territory at their 47. Jerry Holmes knocked him out of bounds. Dickerson can do just about everything there is to do.
You see him, he caught that ball. He was out there directing traffic on that one. You get him, and I'll make a big run. You know, it looked like Vince Ferragamo almost slipped here in his pitcher's mouth. Watch this before he throws it. He hits the dirt there. You see that? He started to slip, got his balance, found Dickerson. Now watch Dickerson. He points. Get him, get that guy. You didn't get him. Heck, I'll just run out of bounds.
11:33 left in the overtime period, and the Rams have moved into Jet territory. Dickerson's caught 5 passes and picked up 45 yards. Has rushed for 191 yards. Barry Red now gives him a rest. Handoff from Ferragamo is to Red. He got 2. Marty Lyons filled the hole.
See, the Rams are at the 45 now. I think to feel comfortable, they'd want to get to the 25. So they need about 20 more yards to get in position to take a comfortable field goal. That's a new word, comfortable field goal. That's easy for me to say.
There is no such thing as a comfortable field goal.
Not if you're the kicker or the return.
Especially not in overtime. Rams have 2 timeouts, so do the Jets. We're in overtime, 24-24 tie at Shea Stadium. Eric Dickerson's back in, and the Rams take one of their timeouts. Ferragamo, not sure. We'll come over and talk to John Robinson. Rams 24-24. In a tie with the Jets in overtime. The Rams have the ball at the Jet 45, 2nd and 7. They're out of field goal range now. Another first down, and they'll be in that position. Goodman does the pirouette. Dickerson gets carried. Slips back inside. Greg Buttle made sure he stayed down as Dickerson made the cut. His feet came out from under him.
This is an interesting down. It's about 3rd and 6. What's interesting here is they're really too far to kick a field goal. If they don't make a first down now in overtime, do you go for it on 4th, or do you punt it and let your defense play? That's a tough decision. If you make it, then that's easy.
Joe Klecko, who had a knee operation after last year and missed most of the season, been playing left defensive tackle all day today, and it looks like he is maybe injured a leg.
See if we can see him here. You see he's inside, and it looks like the guard Dennis Herod just cut him and cut the leg early, right off the bat. See that? It was a running play, and Herod blocked him low. It looked like he blocked him right on the leg.
Nelson.
He's doing yoga or something, I think. That's not exercise, that's yoga. He's trying to get his mind ready. Trying to get some blood flowing.
I'll guarantee you he's got some flowing already. Let's see who took Klecko's place. Barry Bennett goes in place of Joe Klecko. Ferragamo, after calling the timeout, now has got the plays, is ready to go. Barry Bennett is number 78, 24-24 tie. Rams and the Jets, 10:28 left in overtime. Third down, 5. Big third down. Farmer and Otis Grant split wide to the left down at the bottom of your picture. David Hill is inside. Ferragamo back to throw. Rolls out of the pocket. Throws to Farmer. Pass picked off. Jerry Holmes makes the interception. Holmes still on his feet. Ferragamo takes him out of bounds. And the Jets have it in good shape. It has been a long day.
That's the big play you were talking about, the big turnover. Probably going to end in a turnover, and that may be the one. One of the receivers fell down out here as he was taking his cut. Look, he has the organized scramble. He has 2 receivers out there. The short one fell down. The deep one was Farmer. He threw it over.
Rushfield starts up midfield. At about midfield, but at one more time, a penalty marker is thrown. Reggie Doss is good and dirty by now. Holding against the Jets.
That has to be some kind of record.
Next week here on CBS, the unbeaten Dallas Cowboys will be at the 3-1 Minnesota Vikings. John and I'll be there. Tampa Bay will be at Green Bay. Philadelphia at Atlanta. The 49ers visit the surprising New England Patriots. Those are the early games, the late games. Of course, it all begins with the NFL today. Detroit against these Rams, and St. Louis against Kansas City. Cardinals won their first game today. First and 20 from the Jet 40. Lamb Jones wide to the right, Walker wide left. They had the right play call. Harper gets swarmed on at the 45. They got 5 of the yards back. They need Jim Youngblood, who didn't start today, but is now playing.
You know, the Jets have had 10 holding penalties today that have been accepted. They've had some that the Rams turned down. They've had 10 accepted holding penalties.
I don't know if they keep records on those kind of things, but if they do, I'm sure.
I guess they don't. They say that they don't keep records on that thing, but we can say this is a record. If they don't keep them, then you can say anything you want.
Now we've got the record.
Yeah, the Jets broke the record.
If nobody knows any difference. Second down and 14. Penalty marker is thrown again. Pass was complete to Derek Gaffney. But let's see who the flag is thrown against him. Eric Harris is saying it should be against the Jets, but the officials say it's against the Rams.
It looks like one of those encroachments or something where someone lined up offsides or in the neutral zone.
And Leahy, the Jets place kicker now.
Defense, right end, encroachment, decline, third down.
Defense right end, encroachment. So it's third down. Leahy has his chance to sweat now.
That's Reggie Doss. Excuse me, Pat. He's trying to line up close to Chris Ward.
36 out of 49 for Richard Todd for 419 yards. That's a career. Third and 4. Jones and Walker both to the right of Todd. On back to throw. And trying to put on the pressure. He has Scott Durkin wide open. Durkin gets down within field goal range. George Andrews knocked him out of bounds. A 19-yard pickup.
Andrews here. Be out to the right of the screen. Todd sees it all the way. Durkin has a beat by about 5 yards. Andrews finally gets him to the sideline. That's one of those mismatches that you're always looking for.
First and 10, Jets from the Ram 25. We're now at 8:59 left in overtime. Crutchfield to the outside. Gets away from one man and gets about 4 or 5 yards. Johnny Johnson puts him out of bounds. Stops the clock with 8:53 left in overtime.
I'll tell you one thing. These guys have been playing since 4 o'clock, and they've really given everything they had. You know, that's an overused thing. They gave it all. They played their hearts out. But these guys, both teams, both sides, have really worked hard today.
You and I left the ballpark this morning at 12:30. Now it's going on 8 o'clock.
It's close to yesterday.
Jones wide right. Walker wide left. Todd on 2nd and 5 to Crutchfield again. Down to about the 17. Short of a first down. Third down and 2 from the 17. 8.5 minutes left in overtime. Score tied 24-24. Pat Summerall with John Madden. We've been at Shea Stadium a long time. Jets won the toss at overtime, couldn't move it. Rams started to move it and got an interception by Johnny Lynn. Now the Jets have moved it into field goal range. Scott Durkin will have the Jets first down. Eric Harris on the tackle as John Robinson looks on. No matter who wins, both coaches have reasons to be proud. Leahy is number 5, Jet kicker.
I think this is one of those games that everyone has a reason to be proud. I think the league, the teams, both franchises, this is a real football. I mean, it had everything. Big plays, runs, passes. And, of course, it will all boil down to kickers, though, won't it?
Lonely Pat Leahy. First down, Jets at the 12-yard line. Crutchfield inside the 10 to about the 8.
You know, we look over there at Pat Leahy, and that's such a tough job for those kickers. In fact, he's coming in right now. If he makes the kick, all the big guys jump on him. He's a little guy. If he misses it, they all growl at him.
So why do you do it on 2nd down, John? Go ahead and get it over with, or if you get a bad snap, maybe you get another
That's
chance.
the thing. One, I think that you don't want a chance having a turnover, a fumble. 2, if you get a bad snap, you can do it over on 3rd down. 3, there's always a chance that you can run a fake and then come back and do it again so that the rush can't be as fierce.
Which is what Minnesota did